I was looking for a place somewhere in the world that I could grow the quantity of cannabis I wanted without having to go to jail for life.
Today we have a very exciting guest, BigMike Stramatis.
I can remember I had 2 of those bags, and there was $1 million in each one of those bags. But the answer is simple. We want to grow the best cannabis in the world. No one's beat us yet.
Like, very few guys would go this warp ridiculous, but you went ultra big.
He doesn't even know we're coming.
Hey guys, it's Eljay and welcome to Inside Cultivation. Today we have a very exciting guest, BigMike Stramatis. And we're, well, guest.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's your show.
Listen, now, the roles have been reversed. You're in the interviewer's shirt, I'm the interviewee, I'm in the hot seat. So we've been talking about this for years, so this is the day.
At least 16 years in the making, because when I used to buy a lot of pounds and whatnot up through Humboldt, you'd hear the occasional story like, oh, you know, the guy that does the nutrients, and he brought on the fire, and he'd bring down the work, and I'd just collect these little tidbits. And then I first met you. I remember that. We were up at Washington at one of those like $10,000 seat marketing things you put us all through.
That's right.
We're all very grateful for.
That's right. And it was about, we are all in the sales business. Remember that?
Yeah. And like I met you up there, and I'm like, you're the dude who did all the things. Yeah. You were like, ask me anything. And there were all these people at the table, Jody and all them way back. And I'm like, are you sure you want me asking you about like the dirty, the outlaw stuff? And you're like, go ahead.
Sure.
And we got into it.
It's part of my life. I don't disown it. I'm very proud of it, as a matter of fact, because I helped a lot of people in a lot of situations.
Well, as you should be, because thank you. As the scope of what you did, I don't think that enough people know the gravity of it. And that's why I'm so excited to do this, because they all know Mike, the entrepreneur, and the guy who created world's best fertilizers, and Mike, the lab guy, and the pot scientist. But I'm not sure that everybody knows like the vastity, the scope of like the stuff you were doing on the other side of the law.
And advocate. That's one of the things I'm most
100%.
proud about is getting this plant to the stage of being legalized eventually.
Oh, I saw you give huge checks to the advocacy groups year after year in the high times. And yes, I will say that you are partially on the hook for where we're at with weed these days.
Well, there's so many people who got us to where we are today. It's just amazing.
Ed Rosenthal's, there's a lot of great guys.
Yeah, Dennis Perone, there's a lot of people who passed away. There's a lot of people who are still here. Yeah.
No, and it's
still fighting hard.
Well, yeah, and every year it does get better. I mean, from taxation, legalization, it feels like we're moving forward in the industry.
Slowly, but we are moving forward.
All the other markets are popping up and doing well. Yeah, Africa.
Yeah.
In any case, Mike.
Yes.
Grab your popcorn, kids. We're going to talk about some smuggling, some pot growing.
Let's do
it. Mike, I want to take you back to the beginning, man, because I feel like you need to know the man to understand the way you blew this thing up. Like, very few guys would go this warp ridiculous, but you went ultra big. So, like, it's very cool, and I want to start, like, let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
So, who were you growing up in North Aurora, Illinois?
Wow, as Midwest, I was, I grew up in North Aurora, but most of the time in Batavia. Who was I? I was, I was a tall, skinny kid who was kind of like an outsider, and I loved to hunt. I loved to fish. Did a little bit of trapping too for a while. Was a fur buyer, but that kid came out of a pretty rough, diffunctional family, and like a lot of us in our industry have. It's a common story in our industry.
Yeah. An outsider, looking back, do you feel like that was you putting you in that box, or was there like separation because of your height, or like, you know, the glasses or any of that stuff?
Nah, I was like a dorky kid, glasses and stringy long. I tried to grow my hair as long as I could because I wanted to be a cool kid. It was 1975, 1976, and my father would go on like, no, you need a haircut. And it's like I'd be like ducking and dodging and running and trying not to get the haircut. And then he'd give the haircut. He goes, son, you finally rejoined the human race. Congratulations. It's like, oh, come on. But it was the thing. So ran away from home 7 times. Yeah.
Starting at what age?
Shit. 11, 7th grade. What was that, 12th
it's
grade?
11. I don't think he can
12th grade. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty resourceful.
I saw that thing with, what is it, Spencer the actor, Boys Town. I was heading towards Boys Town. Yeah. Yeah, my parents were going through a divorce and all this shit. Hey, you just don't want to be around that stuff.
That's tough. I mean, on all kids. What was your childhood like in the small apartment with almost nothing to your name?
Wow. He did dig deep. Yeah. There was a time I was on food stamps, 20 years old, filed bankruptcy, went on food stamps. And, I was 19. I started a lawn care company called Turf Pro. I didn't do a business. I did a personal and kept the business going. And I did that till from 19 to the age of 25. So I started a business when I was 19, a company called Turf Pro. So I always like to say I was in the grass business since I was 19. And so I had to mix big tanks, and fertilizers and all that, and pesticides and fungicides. So I was used to all that stuff. And I had a couple of guys working for me who were my salesmen, and they kept going into these rooms and going, we could make $300,000 here. We could make $100,000 here. I go, it sounds illegal. They go, it is. I go, are you going to tell me what it is? They go, no, you're not ready for it yet. This went on for 6 months, and finally they took me down to their house and their basement, opened the door, and 1983, 6 straggly lights were there, and the reflectors weren't correct. But they said, hey, we heard this thing called cloning. Do you know how to do it? I said, well, what is it? Let me read about it. I went to the library, read about it, and figured it out. I figured out something called the floating broth method. I think I mixed IBA and I think it was just IBA and maybe some NAA I used at that time. And lo and behold, I was able to get the plants to root, and I had a couple partners, and that's how it all got started.
Advanced Nutrients' first product, cloning gel.
Yeah. That's right.
And what did you learn from your father when you were watching him at carnivals and hustling film processing customers?
Yeah, like my father would go to the different fairs, county fairs, state fairs, and he'd have drawings. He could win a camera outfit. This is before video and all this stuff. And and he taught me a lot about sales at a very, very young age.
Okay.
He would take me with him into his pitch sessions where he was talking to customers. He would do anywhere from 2 to 4 of these in a day, on a weekend, and he would bring me with him. He'd bribe me with ice cream cones. He goes, son, did you see when I did that? Did you see how I handed him the pen? And did you hear when I said this? This is what I was trying to get him to do. It was pretty good. So some of them stayed in my head somewhere.
That's great. I didn't know that he was so technical that he'd have like a recap.
He would debrief me afterwards. Yeah, he was intense. My father.
Well, but that sticks the landing in a child's mind. Like I do stuff like that with mine because you got to remind them the significance, so it sticks in my mind at least. What did the term El Stupido mean to you?
Oh man. That's what. Oh, okay. So that's my father would call me when he was mad at me. Hey, El Stupido, and that's not the best thing to actually say to your kid. But
especially since you're brilliant. It's
well, yeah, and so he saw my scores from the schools and all that stuff, and I think maybe he was. I don't know.
Were you an average?
It was way to putting me down a little bit to make himself feel better about himself.
That's
usually what happens. Yeah,
that's a very hard thing on a child.
It is.
It doesn't. I don't know if it usually happens, but I know that it does happen.
Yeah, but listen, I can say all like about my childhood. There are people who have been through so much worse.
Oh, of course.
And it's just like it's a lot of us go through this stuff when we're kids.
I think it shapes the man, though. Like Justin says that thing, iron shapes iron.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron. Yeah.
That hurt, that early initial hurt and the belittling, I think it made part of your mindset to overachieve, to go big.
100% it did. It caused what's called high performance trauma. And it's quite common in people who are overachievers, Olympic athletes, CEOs who are self-made. I mean, it's just anyone who did anything in their life probably had high performance trauma of some sort. It is what it is. That kind of pressure creates a certain type of a human.
A drive.
Yeah.
So tell me about Coach Peaches Reynolds.
Oh, Peaches. He was my sophomore year coach in basketball. He was a very good coach.
Well, talk to me about intestinal fortitude.
Oh, yeah.
What did that mean?
He used to give us these speeches during halftime when we were like down and stuff. And, by the way, we won every single game except one. And, Peaches was tough on us. He would just, he would run us to death. Like literally run us to death and push-ups on every, corner. And we'd do 100 push-ups while we're running around this thing. And he would just go, and then he'd go, okay. Now it's overtime. It's like, what are you talking about? And so we'd bust our ass thinking this is it. He goes, this is double overtime. And he would do it again. And I would tell you, we would run down every single team that we played. We beat everybody. We're 900 students in our school. We would play West Aurora, East Aurora, which had 4,000 kids, and we beat them. Like in every tournament, we beat them. We were awesome. Anyways,
do you think
he just taught me that there's more in me than I knew that was in myself. Yeah,
that's what
that's what he did, and he taught me to keep pushing under all circumstances.
Well, and don't you think that also contributes?
Never give up. Never give up.
And I never have seen you give up.
No. I've lost battles, but I've never lost a war yet. But I don't think I will.
When did you first realize you weren't built to work for anyone else?
Without sounding too arrogant, probably when I was 14, I knew I was going to go on. Plus, my father drilled it into our head. Son, go. You want to work for yourself. Be an entrepreneur like me. I said, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, so you had that seed early.
That seed early. Yeah, I knew I was going to work for myself. Okay. I want to be like my dad. Most sons do now.
Tell me about Maggie.
Maggie. Okay, so that's a composite. So that's a composite of a couple crazy women I've been with. So
okay,
it's like.
But your first girlfriend.
Are you talking about the one in Canada or the one?
I'm talking about the one in Illinois and the bank and the whole.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so
where we're headed.
Yeah. So, yeah. She was. I didn't know it then. My. I guess every guy's dream is to have a trophy wife, pretty much, right? And you think that's the way to go.
Still dreaming it.
And it's the wrong. That's not the things that you want to be looking at in a person that you're going to want to spend a lifetime with or any amount of time. You want a woman that will build you up and not tear you down. So I didn't know it at the time, but she had borderline personality disorder. Like, I've studied a lot of psychology, and now I understand what she was. Wow. So she would get mad at me and tell me, get the fuck out. Now, this is my own apartment, right? But I'm like, sure, I'll leave my own apartment just to get away from you. As soon as I would get to that door, she goes, you leave and I'm going to call the police on you and tell them you're growing marijuana. Like, holy shit. So finally, I got her to leave for 2 weeks to go on a modeling assignment. And when she did, I already had a car bought. My name had been changed. I had the IDs. It was real. I always got real paper. So I had a real birth certificate, real credit cards, real everything. Literally walked into a rental unit where the car was, pulled the thing up. I had a little hibachi grill there with sterno, burnt the one wallet, picked up the new wallet, drove out, and I literally was a new person and got the hell out of there and never saw her again after that.
Well, wait, there was one thing that happened. So your first dip into criminality.
What?
You're dating this girl and you wanted to impress her and get her something, so you ended up creating a safety deposit box.
That's even further back. Yeah, so I did. Oh man,
your first criminal act.
My first criminal act. Yes. So I made a big steel box. I chained it to the thing. I said, hey, the depository box.
Yeah, night deposit.
Night depository is out of order. Deposit in my box, which people did, but I got caught. So it is what it is.
You made $500, if I'm not mistaken, before you got caught.
Yeah, something like that.
And you got arrested, and the cop said something funnier than shit to you.
This guy would have shot me too. This is before. This was way back then in 1978. And if you ran or you did something, they could legally shoot you. This cop, he was like looking at me like this, going, freeze. I went, oh boy, this guy's wants to shoot.
You were like 15 or something, right? 16?
18 or 18. I was a young lad. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then the cop tells you, like, you should have written her a poem instead.
Oh, something.
Right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I was keeled over laughing as I'm reading this.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. So sorry, to get back on track.
The reason I said that there's a composite, because we'll talk later about the book, but yeah, there's a book coming out, and so they took some people and they made composites out of them.
Yeah, no,
because the book would have been too long.
Yeah. No, I got it. And you said that her father bailed you out.
Oh yeah, her father was cool. Man, he was a realtor, and he goes, "Don't worry, Mike. I know a lawyer. I know everything. It's going to work out for you." It cost me like $500 or something like that, or a couple of $100, and that was it. When a judge gave me whatever court supervision or something.
So when that leads to you get busted, you have to rethink your life, and you decide to start Turf Pro.
Yeah.
So what was the inception of Turf Pro? Like, how did that come?
I had a trapping buddy, and he'd worked for a company called I think it was Liquid Green at the time, and he said, "Hey, this thing's picking up. This is a big deal. It's like this is a new business that's on fire." I go, "Really? Tell me about it." And we talked about it. I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And so we did it, and that was it. And then he went his way, I went my way, and started Turf Pro, and I don't know what he called his company.
But so you do Turf Pro, and then my big takeaway that I saw, that your takeaway rather, was that because of the seasonality, because of the snow,
well, that's how I ended up on food stamps, with seasonality, right? And so for 2 years, I was on food stamps during the wintertime. $70 a month they'd give us. And I had a little coupon book, and I actually framed it. And believe it or not, somebody stole it. They thought that there was probably coupons in there or whatever. It wasn't. But $70, we'd go to Aldi's, and I could buy enough food. It would last me the month, and I would make it through all the way to the winter. And springtime, I'd be working again.
So,
it was good.
Interesting business, though. So your first year, you start this, you kick ass all summer, and then the snow comes, and did you see it coming that, my business is all going to fall off?
I was a kid. I'm 19 years old. I don't know shit from Shinola. It's just, I'm just doing the best I can. And so I did it all the way till the age of 25. So it was 6 years I did that for.
Okay. Yeah. With the seasonality, but you'd kick ass hard enough that later 4 years.
Well, I started growing weed.
Okay, that's where it is. So who were Donnie?
And then I stopped. Then I stopped with the lawn care and went into weed care.
There you go. So who were Donnie, Tony, and Jerry?
Oh,
and how did they rope you into the secret money making?
That's it. Those are the guys who Tony and Donnie and Terry. Yeah, they great guys, and they're the ones who kept teasing me, going, "Oh, you're not ready for this. You're not that." Then one day they walked me into the basement, and I solved their cloning issue, and we went into business together.
Okay, do you remember the moment they said it's the closest to growing money on trees?
Yeah, they said all kinds of stuff, but yeah, it was very interesting. And when I first did it, it was revenue generation. They didn't know about all this medical stuff. When I found out about the medical stuff, I said, yes, I am in the right business.
Yeah,
because I never thought I was ever hurting people. Never. I knew that even back then. I knew that cannabis was safer than alcohol.
Yeah, in 2012 is when I had that moment when they cured cancer in Spain. We saw that research for the first time. And I felt like huge nobility being it. It's like, we're saving kids. I'm so right. I can't be wrong. Let's go. And like kind of lit a fire. So I know that feeling. Okay, sorry. What was it like walking into that grow room the very first time? Like you walk in, you open the door, obviously bright.
Well, I had no reference point. So I'm like, all right.
You knew what pot was, though.
Hell yeah, I knew what pot was. Yeah. I had a 24-year-old brother who had been smoking weed, and he got back from Vietnam, and yeah, it was interesting. So I smoked my first joint. It was from my brother, gave it to my dad, and I took it out of my dad's thing. And he goes, "Did you see what those joints were?" And I go, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Oh, Andy, that was my older brother. He must have came and got him." I went like,
How old were you?
12.
12 years
I can remember
old?
I smoked a joint before I got on the bus going to school. I had this big old smile on my face. Yeah.
I didn't know what you wanted
to I wanted to experience. I didn't smoke the whole joint. I took a couple of hits. Just wanted to see what would happen.
Okay. Yeah. But it was an instant love affair.
Yeah, I appreciated it. Yeah. Okay. But I wasn't a heavy user. Even when I was like, when I first grew and I went to Canada and stuff, I would probably maybe only smoke like 2 or 3 times a month. So I wanted to be clear-headed. Well, what I was doing, I wanted to be really clear.
Considering what you were doing, we'll get to that. Yeah, I understand now. What equipment were you guys using back then?
We were using metal halides.
Okay. The whole cycle?
And well, no, when I first saw their grow, it was like 6 metal halides. I think some were 1,000 watts, some were 400 watts. It was just a clusterfuck. So, but the one that we built was a 12 lighter. It had 4 high-pressure sodiums down the middle, and on the outside, on each side was 4 1,000-watt HPSs. And I put the first crop in, and I killed it within 24 hours. Because, like crispy, because I didn't understand BTUs.
Yeah.
And CFMs and any of that stuff. And by the way, there's no books and stuff talking about this stuff, and there was no internet at the time. So you didn't have anywhere to really go and just try to get the information that you could. So we figured things out on our own.
Well, and yeah, we're going to get into some of that too. How did the first grow, how it failed because of heat, I take it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got a second set of plants in there, and they were like, these were all from the same mom. So, but the second ones were all like a hodgepodge. We had males, females, sativas, indicas in there, and that was our second harvest. And we actually sold that for a little bit of money. Then the third harvest was
you got a bunch of seeds in the second round.
Yeah. Oh, and how we got the seeds? They all came from Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I ended up, eventually taking trips over there every, early November before the Cannabis Cup.
Back then?
Yeah, High Times Cannabis Cup.
Oh yeah, I remember, but I'm just.
And I would go and I would buy seeds before the thing, or I would go right after it. And I'd buy the seeds and I would ship them back to the U.S.
Okay, so you had hot flavors for back then.
Oh, I was the first guy to bring bubblegum into the United States.
You never told me that.
That's I bought those from the what was it called? Gray something. I'll think about it in a second.
It's like 1985-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I can remember going there. I said, "Hey, listen, what are the hottest strains that are going to be out next year that you think are going to win the cup?" He goes, "Well, I got this one called Bubblegum." I go, "Okay, fine. How many seeds?" He goes, "I don't have any. I got to breed a bunch more seeds." I go, "Okay." He goes, "But I can sell you 10." He goes, "But I got to ask him the arm and a leg for it because I don't have that many." I said, "Oh, well, what's an arm and a leg?" He goes, $100 a seed. I said, "Okay, give me 10 of them." And that was it. And then the next year after that, it won the Cannabis Cup, and we already had it.
And you had it stateside.
Yeah.
So business was good.
It was very good. It was a very popular plant.
Okay, how did you teach yourself the science of cultivation, the lighting, the CO2? Because there was no internet. There weren't barely any books back then.
And so I went to Mainstream Ag to see what they were doing. I can remember going to Mainstream Ag in Amsterdam and Holland, and I was just blown away. This was early on, and I saw the Argus systems, and Priva systems, and I saw what Priva was doing. I went, "Holy shit, this is next level." In fact, right after that, I started bringing in rolling tables, and so my grows I had rolling tables because I saw them doing in Dutch. So I bought some rolling tables, and I did all that, and it worked really good. I liked it.
So where's the point that you're running Turf Pro, you're growing weed, that the realization hits you that this is your third crop?
Third crop, yeah.
And third crop, you're just done. What happens with Turf Pro?
I turfed it. I was making better money doing the other thing, and so that went real well, and, I'd say the rest is history.
So third crop.
Went to the next,
Oh, sorry.
And then we did indoors for a long time, and then we decided to go outdoors, and so we did both.
Okay, so third crop, though, you have seedless fire-ass weed that you're just like, wow, we can do that.
Yeah.
Because, back then,
we're getting over $3,000 a pound back then.
Well, yeah. Most of it was that Mexican brick weed back then.
Yeah.
They'd sealed.
And most people didn't even know what hydroponic weed was. And we'd give them this is hydroponic, weed. And they go, "Well, what's that?" I go, "Go ahead, smoke it." They go, "Holy shit!" They were like, "What'd you put in this stuff?" I go, "No, nothing. I just grew it properly."
Okay, so what was your scale of the operation at your third grow?
No, it's still in the 12 lighter.
Okay.
And so then I got out of Illinois, got a little bit of heat on me, and went to California.
Hold on, we need to dive.
Okay,
You're jumping.
All right.
They need to hear the build up. Like this thing is a cool story, is why.
Okay.
Like a bunch of cool players in it. So when did you start taking notes like a scientist in the grow?
Always did.
Okay, from the start.
Not from the start. Maybe was it from the start? I think I had Jim. He's since passed away. He was my partner, and he was an engineer, so he took a lot of copious notes too. So, yeah, I'd say pretty much right away. Very, 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 very quickly, I realized that you had to take notes and see what you're doing, so you knew where you were and where you wanted to go.
Well, in the obsession with achieving perfect yields, don't you think that helped shape the rest of your business life?
Well, we invented the perfect room. And so, like, okay, well, where'd you get that idea? Well, I went to DeKalb, Illinois, and there was a place. They were growing. The two guys that took me into the room go, we want to take you to a place in DeKalb, Illinois. It was Northern Illinois University. That's what the university is. And so we went into this place. They were growing lettuce for United. And they had this big conveyor, which was a corkscrew, and they would start real close together, these rails that would have the seeds in them for the lettuce. And as they moved down and they grew and they grew and grew, it would automatically gap it out.
Smart.
And the lights were water cooled. Back then. Oh, yeah. And I saw the water cooled lights, the water jacketed lights.
Like the tubes? Like the cool
no,
tubes, the
no.
water sleeve?
At first they were like a big round thing the size of the bulb, but bigger. And so the water would be inside of there, keeping the bulb cool. And I saw that. They talked about CO2. And I said, well, you're not bringing any outside ventilation in. They go, no, you don't need to if you balance the room correctly. So that was when I saw, okay, you can have a closed system where you don't have to vent outside and the smell. And so that's what we grew like that, like crazy. And then, when I eventually got to Canada, I brought it to Canada and showed everybody how to do it.
That literally everybody, I believe. Yeah, you went nuts.
Yeah. If you're growing in a closed system and not bringing in any kind of ventilation, that was us.
Actually, with the smell too. Tell us about the Wisconsin dairy farm grow when you first started going outside with it.
Oh, God.
And how did that happen? How did you make the jump from indoor to let's do fields? Like, what was that thought?
So, we did about an acre outside in Wisconsin. The guy that was working with us was a different kind of fellow. And he made the mistake of taking some of the crop down and selling it to the locals. The locals go, where the hell you get this kind of weed from? And it's so fresh and it's kind of still moist, and maybe we should go on his property and look. And they found it. They called the police, and he got promptly busted.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And then now I asked a lot of people about this story, but and you hear that he got busted from his girlfriend Lisa or whatever.
That's right.
And you go down the street out of your own house to hide.
Yeah.
But then you let a couple buddies stay there that were supposed to be notify you when the cops came.
Oh, yeah, I knew they were coming. Like when a certain time came, I was talking to him after he got arrested, and then a certain time came, Lisa came and goes, hey, he's ratting on you.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, time for me to go. And I left some guys in the house, and, I'd put the police under surveillance. So I knew exactly what vehicles, what license plate, who they were, their names. And I said, and I told them, these are the people who are probably going to show up. And when they did, they go, oh, yeah, you were right. There was this one, and this one.
Yeah, but I heard those guys were high at the time when the cops showed
I have
up.
I have no idea. They could have been. They could have been. They were probably just sitting there partying.
Yeah, cool.
All the furniture was there. Everything was looking good.
That was the old get down. So, so then after they stopped by the house.
I remember those guys, too. They're a good group of guys.
And also, you met Bobby during this time.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he said that he was helping weeding the farm, and that was his first time. And he met you because you walked into a waterbed store.
He sold me a waterbed. Well, back in the day, waterbed was a big thing, right? So, he sold me a waterbed, and we hit it off, and then 3 years later, we're growing weed together.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So this all happens. This guy gets busted. He rats, which is bad. And I was told that he was kind of a big mouth and partier and did shit. Yeah. And ran his mouth and da-da-da. So this leads to you having to literally leave your home and go to California.
Correct.
And now, why California? Because of the weed business?
I had a couple of friends out here.
Okay.
And I know they're getting good money for weed out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for product. And then from there, I went up to Canada.
So
I spent 1 year in Temecula. No, spent about 6 months, 7 months probably in Laguna Niguel in a house.
Okay.
And then from there, I moved to Temecula after that for about another 6 months and got on the road and went to Canada.
So how did the betrayal of Lawson or whatever, how did that, I mean, that was like your first hit of having a friend fuck you over. Like, how did you wear that? How did you internalize it?
Yeah, you don't like it when that happens, but then
it's heartbreaking.
But then he did the right thing eventually. He came forward and said I had nothing to do with it and cleared my name.
Many years later.
Many years later, but still, he came forward after he had done his time and all that, and he knew what he didn't want to see anything happen to me, so from that perspective.
Stuff.
Yeah, he came through at the end, which is more than most people do.
But you're hurting. You go out to California, freshly fucked by a buddy, law on your tail, do the Laguna Niguel thing. You go out to Temecula, and you said, you told me this story personally, you're in this house grow, and you are all in. Every dollar you got is in this grow.
I had to make it.
And the entire canyon goes ablaze, giant fire.
Yeah, man, listen, I couldn't believe it. And I saw the flame like way off in the distance. I go, this is not going to be a big deal. That wind took that fire. People have no idea the intensity of these fires here. This is insane. It burned all the underbrush, everything, and it's coming, the wind's blowing, and I'm thinking, okay, if it jumps this one normal like little street, I'm out of here. And so I had back my car, and I put all the stuff that I wanted to be valuable, and I had it here. Cops are knocking on my door. I got a bunch of cannabis growing in the garage, and I was like, oh man. And so he goes, well, we were evacuating. I said, okay, I said, I got my car pointed. I go, as soon as if that fire jumps the street, I'm out of here. He goes, okay, no problem. They had helicopters flying over, get out of the neighborhood, get out of the neighborhood. It was intense.
But you also told me the emotional component to this, because we were sharing stories about when you decide actively to go down with the ship. And I think I told you a story, and then you came back with this one at the time, and you're like, I was all in, and I couldn't leave.
No,
and if that house was going to burn, fuck it, I was going with it type of. I was not going to abandon that pot grow.
Oh, I would have, not only if it jumped the street, I would have waited till it got closer, closer, closer before I would have given up the ship.
It's interesting, though, when you have a gun to your head like that, when you are all in, on the run, you had no place else to go, no money to get there.
I made $37,500 off that crop. I gave I gave my brother $12,500 to hold as backup money in case everything went wrong. And this is a lot of years ago. This is 40 years ago. So yeah, the money went a lot further than. And so I gave him the 12.5, and I had the 25. I went to Canada with 25, and well,
so
the rest is history.
How old are you at this point?
34, 35. At that
okay,
time.
so
yeah.
And you just
because when I went to Canada, I was 37.
Okay. Okay, so you just do the one grow in Temecula, or did you stay there and do a couple
No, I just
flips?
I turned the one crop and got the hell out. No, actually, I turned a little mini crop, and then I turned a bigger crop.
Okay, so what do you do with all the gear and shit from the Temecula place?
Oh, I put it into storage. I had a moving company go pick it up and moved it because I went to Canada. I went, I think it was Bellingham. I had them drop it off at a storage place in Bellingham.
Okay.
Then Rob ended up being my partner at the eventually, and Rob went down and he went down to the States and got all the stuff out of storage and brought it all up. I got it all back.
So how does Canada, like you're sitting in Temecula, how does Canada enter your mind?
Oh, I was looking for a place somewhere in the world that I could grow the quantity of cannabis I wanted without having to go to jail for life. And so I just started calling different countries and people that I knew there.
I want to come do a bunch of felonies in your country. How do you feel about it?
And so I called up in Amsterdam, and I thought that's a pretty good deal, but I don't speak Dutch, so I got to learn Dutch, and I would rather not do that. So I heard about this place in Vancouver. I've been reading about it in High Times. I go, I wonder if that's really true. So I call up the phone, and it's Mark Emery. That's who I talk. Hey, Mark. Is it really what you say it is? He goes, absolutely. You need to come down here, see me, and I'll set you up. So I got there, and I didn't go see Mark right away, but then eventually I went and saw Mark and became good friends with him and the whole bit. And
wait, so where do you land in Canada? Did you have a friend up there? Like you sleeping on a couch?
No, I had no friends. My only contact was Mark Emery.
Okay,
that was it. So I had some money, so I was able to rent a hotel room and started looking for houses and where I wanted to grow, and found a house. And I'm sitting there with the owner of the house. Actually, he was a manager, and he was talking. And I looked at him at the end of showing me the house and everything. I knew I wanted the house, and I said to him, "Hey," I said, "Do you want to know what I'm going to be doing here? You curious?" Because I just picked up his vibe from this guy. I just knew that he was
cool.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I did. I read him very well. And he goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to grow cannabis." But you got to understand, a lot of people growing cannabis in BC at that time.
Okay.
And so, quite a few. And I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll give you an extra $500 per month just to make sure that the owner never comes into this house that you run block for me." He goes, "Done." And not only that, but then he had another house and another house. I ended up with 6 or 7 homes on that street growing.
You're running the whole block.
I ended up buying them, and then I ended up losing them when shit hit the fan.
Well, that's way later on. But so how many, you kept those houses then? Those were your first?
They're called the Street of Dreams, yeah.
Shit, good name. So you have this, those are your first 7 houses. And are you doing this all by yourself, or did you
No, when I first started, I got into one house. I started a cutting business. That's what I did. And so I was slinging.
Clones?
Clones, baby, clones.
No shit.
I was selling clones to everybody. I would sell. It was a good business. I'd sell
It's
thousands.
still a good business.
I'd sell thousands every week, and I was getting $5 at the time for that. And so from that, I was able to then go into a much bigger grow and other houses, and it just blossomed from there, and it just kept accelerating.
Who were the first people that you brought into the operation? And did you and how did you structure it? Like, so you have your few houses.
Oh, sure. So
who's the first guy?
I would first year you're like an apprentice, or I'm just hiring you to see if you're capable, and if you do a good job, then the next year you get a cut. You're not a full partner, but you get a cut.
You get a taste,
you get a taste, a good one. And then the next year after that, if you worked out, you became a full partner, and we divided it equally. So there was 3 of us eventually that divided it equally.
So who's the first dude you bring in on this program?
Bobby Kane.
No
Bobby
shit.
Kane.
Okay.
He was the first one because he was like, he's just a good, solid human.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so
steady.
He's steady. You know where you're at with him, and he's consistent. And
what was Bobby's role in those early grows?
Bobby, when he first started this, as I said, first year he worked, second year he did this, he got a piece, and then he became a full partner. And then eventually we brought in another guy called Dwayne.
Okay.
And Dwayne came in, and it was us 3.
Also, wasn't there a thing with Lawson where like he had a name John, like you helped him get a fake identity or something?
Yeah. So you could rent the place up in
Wisconsin.
Yeah, he wanted to do that.
So, this was just no big deal to you. Like, oh, we'll just get you a new identity, like buying a Pepsi.
Listen,
no big.
I got really good at it. I figured out how to get real paper. A lot of people would go and they would make the mistake of going and trying to get the driver's license first. I always went for the passport, because there is holes in the system. They fixed the holes in through the post office, but I would go in there and I would be able to. So the birth certificate, I get the, because the passport was the granddaddy of all IDs.
Oh, yeah,
you get that. You can get any ID after that, and then I would go in and I would then say, okay, I was in a foreign country for many years, and I had a driver. So my driver's license, elapsed, and I need to get a driver's license. They go, oh, okay, but you're just going to have to take the test, written and the driving test. I get real good at those written and driving tests.
How many times have you taken a driving test now?
Like at least a dozen times.
I know of several identities, just me, and I know there were more.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was Bobby's reaction in the fallout from Wisconsin when Lawson turned on you guys?
Oh shit! It's like hey, Bobby, I got to go. I got to go on the run. Everything's, and so I just disappeared out of his world for, I don't know, 5-6 years.
He said he sent you a little money when you were in California, but the money got largely fucked up because they had to hire attorneys on that end and pay people to shut up or talk. And he's like, yeah, dude, we had to spend a lot of money just kind of organizing the pieces so we all didn't go down type of thing. And he's like, we sent Mike a little. I was bummed. It wasn't enough, but he figured it out.
Yep, I did.
About the Temecula
they helped out, and it was good. It was tough, when the first time you go on the run. It's not fun, by the way.
First time. No, there's no time. Nobody in that room has ever been on the run. Only you.
Fair enough. And so going on the run was, it's not what people think it is. It's tough. Like the day that I was able to be myself, it's like, thank God.
Oh.
It's like 1,000. But I got to say, when I went to Canada, it was like 1,000 pounds coming off my shoulder. I felt free for the first time again.
Yeah, because you were out of the States.
I was out of the States, and the man wasn't looking for me, and I was up pretty good in Canada. And I went to see John Conroy was my attorney. I go, John, here's what I want to do. Here's what I'm here for. How much time am I going to get if I get caught? He goes, 6 years. I go, what does that mean, actual time I have to do before they kick me out of the country? He goes, probably around 18 months. I go, okay, I can live with that, because I would have life in the States for what I did.
Oh, yeah, they were gnarly back. I mean, still relatively gnarly now in the right circumstances. Mm-hmm. So who's the first guy? You have your house, Street of Dreams. Yeah. Who's the first guy you bring on there in Canada now to help you out? Because Bobby's back in Michigan or whatever.
Yeah, there's a bodybuilder guy I did for about a year, and then he got, he went on his way. Then we started realizing we could take the stuff across the border. We figured out how to do that, and it changed the trajectory of everything. Then I remember there was a guy out in Grand Forks. I had some guys working for me, and they had a connection. They kept talking about this guy who buys weed. And I was like, okay, whatever, not another one of these guys. And it turned out the guy was just amazing human. And the one guy that we had, we were moving so much weight, he got nervous.
How much weight at this point? This early part of Canada, not that...
We were running like 100 pounds at a time at that. So
that's at the early.
Yeah. So he got nervous because he didn't want to drive with 100 pounds. It's like, we didn't even drive at the maximum way, and he only had we'd meet him, and he only had like a short little distance to drive. So I said, this is not going to work. So luckily it was a short street, and so I kind of did surveillance on the street to see what the houses were. And then I had also surveillance to see where he went, where he turned on that street, and what house he went into, and we were able to finally figure it out. So now, here I am with my partner in Canada, which was Rob, and we go knocking on the guy's door at night. He doesn't even know we're coming. We have 88 pounds with us, like just the bomb. And we're knocking on the door. Who are you? I go, well, we're the guys who supply this guy that you know. So he goes, get the fuck out of here. He was a boxer, too. He's like a German boxer dude. We're like, not going to leave. He said, you get the fuck out of here. Nope, we're not going. We're your guys. He goes, okay, let me call the other guy. So he calls Herb up, and he goes, hey, these guys, put him on the phone. He goes, yep, that's them. That's okay. So, I knew when we had him sold. We're at the door, and I go, we're not leaving. And he's like, and he finally says to me, he goes, what does this stuff look like? As soon as that, I go, now we're in. Wait till he sees it. Yeah. We pulled it out. He looked at it. He goes, okay, I want it. So then he calls Herb, and Herb came over, and we made a deal with Herb. We gave him a good end to say, we're still going to get your end. Let us handle it all.
Yeah, but you jumped the plug. Next guy.
I was going to jump the plug. Yes, that's it. Yeah. Well, we took care of the plug.
Well, which is good, and not enough of that happens, frankly, but honorable. Yeah. And who was Susan, and what was her importance in the organization?
There was one. She was because some names were changed to protect the innocent, right? So she was a manager there, and she was smart. She was what did she come out of? She goes. Jenny Craig. She was a regional manager for Jenny Craig, and she was really on top of her game. And you got these what do you call them? Memory sticks.
Yeah.
Well, there was a brand new thing that had just come out. Was a memory stick. I didn't even know what the hell they were, but she had figured it out, and it looked like a pen, like a little pendant that she had. Yeah. She could pull it out, plug it in. So when the cops came and they busted us, there was I was already in jail at that time, but then 100 cops came literally with balaclavas, and even then they said, this is overkill. And there she is. They're looking for all this evidence, and it's sitting right on her neck, and they never even knew it. And that's where all the bookkeeping was.
And dude, you told me at one point that you had a team of trades guys that basically once you rented a house, these guys could convert it to a grow in 48 hours. Air conditioning, walls,
real
floors,
fast.
Everything.
Real fast.
So
real fast.
How big did the operation get, man? Between the houses,
200 people. We had over 200 people working for us at the time.
And then
organization.
You had 1,496 grow lights at the peak.
That's the most I ever had at any one time was 1,496. Yeah,
but that
was including the mother plants and for the cuttings as well. That was a whole nother set of lights.
Yeah, I was going to say it didn't include. So I mean, dude, you were 1,700 lights, and this back in 1990. I was already
growing at scale way back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I understood a lot of things, and when I saw these guys when they first started here, I saw these huge grow rooms, and I went, man, these guys, they're not understanding that, like these big grow rooms, it's tough. You got to harvest that all in one day, and you got to replant. So you want to make smaller rooms, right? Anyways,
I was just talking to a guy about that. If I was building, I'd be doing 25, 30 light room. You can control everything's easier in a small, but whatever.
Whatever.
Getting the mechanics of growing later. But so you got these.
No, I understand because I made the same mistake. I remember I had this one room with 75 lights, and I just went there and went, "Oh wow, look at this!" Until we had to harvest. I went, "This is a pain in the ass. I'll never do this again." So I made them smaller from that point on.
You have the hot and the cold spots as you're walking through the room, and uneven CO2 dispersion. Like it creates all that space.
That's
it's hard to dial it in.
Yeah.
So now we're at this place. We're early 1990. Is that fair? Right around there.
Yeah.
That window. And you have 1,500.
No. This is 97 now.
Okay, so we're mid-90s.
No.
And you have this whole...
98, 99, yeah, 98, 99.
This whole operation is humming, and you are harvesting how much a week?
Fuck. Lots.
Like
it depends what place. Yeah, it depends what place came down. Yeah.
Okay, but so now becomes the time to move all this weed.
Yeah.
And
we're selling it like crazy in Canada, right? But it's just like there's this other opportunity.
Oh yeah.
I got nervous, and so we started with wave runners. From wave runners, we went to a boat. From a boat,
well, hold on, you can't just gloss. So there's a whole story on the wave. So what makes you think wave runner? And you're going in between countries on a water motorcycle.
Yeah.
So you come up with this idea.
That's right. Well, you could put 20 pounds in the front. So that's how we started. We had two of them. It was 20 and 20. It was 40. We're getting across, right?
No shit. Did you do the first ones?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not do the first ones.
So you pay some guys to jump on a wave. How many miles are they going in?
Not very far. Maybe like 10, 15 miles. That's all they had to go from Vancouver Island over into the U.S.
15 miles is a ways when you're
bouncing
on the water.
Maybe less than that. But these guys are good, and then soon they stopped that and got a boat.
Okay, so they bring it into Washington.
Yep, right. And the boats and everything.
Who was the boat captain name? I forgot.
I'm gonna give the.
He made like a. Here, I got it somewhere in here. It wasn't Jedi or Cowboy.
No. Fuck, those guys were amazing.
Yeah, no, you liked them. Benny? Was Benny the boat guy?
No, Benny. It was. I know his name, and I'm trying to think. OT is what we called him.
Okay, but he was.
I don't want to say his name.
Of course,
he's still alive today and doing well. So.
No, he made $1 million.
He made a bunch of money.
He made $1 million, then just stopped.
No. He built a beautiful house on Vancouver Island, and had his own company, and kept doing his thing.
Oh yeah, but he stopped working for you. He said you said in this book that he almost got nailed by the guys on the water.
He did. He had he had diving gear, black bags of diving gear. They saw that and they thought it was weed. The weed was inside the cabin. 200 pounds he had with him going across, and so the helicopter came, Canadian Coast Guard came and went whoosh right down in front of the boat like this, and pointed like, "Get over there." So they came onto the boat. They did all the thing, and they thought, "Oh, that's just diving gear. We thought it was something else. Okay, never mind. Goodbye." It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's enough
and
to shake
that
you
was
straight.
the last time. That was the last time. So then we stopped doing that, and we went to helicopters.
Okay, so did you try? And you also had said something at one point that you had guys hiking. You just told me this personally years ago. There was
a guy who was a ex-Navy SEAL, and he was there working for a while. This guy was crazy. These guys are from another planet.
Oh yeah.
He would walk with 50 pounds on there, and I know what he was walking. It would just make if you're in a good shape and you went and did that, you would. I don't know if you could make the journey. And he did it with 50 pounds on his back, and he would do it all the time.
How much did you pay him?
I think it was either somewhere between. I think it was $300 a pound he got. Yeah.
I mean, $1,500 for taking a walk. If you're a fitness guy, it's good money. You do that a couple times.
15,000.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, 50.
I dropped the zero.
That's okay.
Dude, that's a hell of a day's walk. I'm out of shape, but that may motivate me to try it.
Yeah, I heard he eventually went back to the teams and went back on there. So he had a little bit of excitement for a while. He was a good guy.
So what kind of rules and codes did you enforce to keep like this downstream army? Because I know that you mentioned a lot that there was like a separation from the top and the bottom as far as like the identities and all the different stuff.
Of course, you all have nicknames and
compartmentalized,
all that stuff.
So what were some of the things that you did to handle like rules and codes to enforce to keep everyone disciplined?
Yeah.
How did you like run an organization of outlaws?
It's tough. I mean, we had guys steal from us and we caught them. Like always the trimmers.
Give me a couple
ways.
A
lot of times, most of it's the trimmers. And so we had different methodology to deal with the trimmers after we figured out the trimmers have big mouths and they're talking and stuff.
Well, I mean, are we talking stealing ounces or pounds?
Yeah, one guy, the most I think anyone ever stole. No. The most we ever had stolen from us, I think was like, I remember it was like 100 got taken.
That was a shitload.
Yeah, and we never got it back. And then another time, like 15 pounds was gone. We got that back. So
that's the money though. The $3,000-$4,000 tickets. I mean, 15 pounds now versus then.
That's a lot of money.
Enough to kill you back then. Yeah. No, guys take that seriously. So, what was the visitor policy amongst all these locations, and how did you handle violations? And some dude would show his girlfriend, or
Oh, we didn't have too much of that happen. But the people did like some stupid stuff. You just find them and just carry on, and that's it. I mean, unfortunately, when you have a team, you're kind of stuck with that team.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to fire people and stuff.
You don't want to ratting.
You don't we were never heavy-handed. We didn't have to be. We just talk to them and
dock a guy a few bucks on the next thing, make him act.
That's it. Yeah. Plus, a lot of times they didn't want to do anything because we were paying very well and they were busy all the time, and so.
And you're a nice man. I've worked for you for a very long time. You're an easy guy to work for in that regard. You're not a prick.
Sometimes.
You're always a sweetheart. But okay, so how did you recruit specialists like mechanics and electricians?
Yeah. So we would be doing these things, and we would find. You'd be in hydroponic stores, and you meet these people. They would be like, hey, I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Cool.
How did you vet him?
And one guy, we eventually had, the electric company working for us. We'd pay the guys, and they would go and do whatever we asked them to.
Upgrade panels and shit?
No, more than that. We had our own transformer rooms. We would run 14.4 off the wires, and we'd go and we'd run it straight into the barn. And in the barn, we'd have our own transformers, and we'd have like 3 or 4 transformers, different sizes. Yeah, and then from there, we'd take it to the distribution, and then into the panels.
You were doing like step-down transformers back in the mid-'90s? It had to.
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's the only way to do it. It's like you're dealing with a lot of power. And we had large generators, too. Yeah. We had a fucking place burn. They could see the fires from 60 miles away. They saw them in downtown Vancouver, and it was 60 miles away, and they could see the flames because 4,000 gallons of diesel fuel went up.
Yeah.
Because the guy wasn't doing his job. So what do you do? It's just like,
well, and that also...
let that guy go.
We'll get into that, but that's going to... That was the beginning of the end as far as
it was already, it was already going, and we didn't... you don't recognize it. Well, we kind of knew it at the time. We saw, like, we picked up some police surveillance, and when I went and I talked to the guys. I go, listen, we're going to get busted. They go, you really think we will? I go, yeah, it's not if, it's when. And so let's, have money in a lawyer and all this. So we had already... The money was at the lawyers, their retainers were done, everything. And so we just kept going until one day they arrested all of us.
So how did you train your downstream, your guys in counter surveillance? And I want to talk about your training.
I trained them in that, yeah.
So how does this begin? And like, are you doing this under one of your 15 identities or what?
Yeah, so one of the things that I realized, if I want to learn how to do all this, find out who the best guys in the business are and hire them. So I did. I found, from escape and evasion driving school, I went to a couple of schools. From then, I had a name. I was Michael Remington at the time, and so people thought I was with the Remington family. So they opened up a lot of courses that I probably should have been given me, and that's where I learned surveillance detection routes, all this stuff. These guys, technical surveillance countermeasures by a guy named Jim Ross. He was training the DEA, the FBI, and all that stuff on like how to bug a room and how to find them and all this. And I, spent days and days and days with these guys.
As a private citizen, You could...
Oh, yeah. Because I was Remington, and I thought, okay, well, you've got security issues, and so we're going to make sure you're taken care of, and well,
and you also had piles of money. Like, yeah, this will help.
Well, yeah, because I've been growing weed, and I had I could afford to pay for these They were expensive courses.
Sure.
And but yeah, it helped me out immensely. I picked up the police a couple of times when they were doing surveillance on us, and I nailed them both times. It's just like, yeah.
How? Tell me. You got to tell me the story.
Well,
awesome.
you learn a surveillance detection route, and so I did my route when I thought I was being followed. And sure enough, there they were, bam, bam, bam. Then I remember my girlfriend called up one day. She goes, I said, okay, there's something called a path of predictability. And that's how you leave your house or work every single time. And within that path of predictability, you have zones of danger and blind spots. And you want to know where all those are. Because then we were taught, if I was going to put myself under surveillance, where would I go? How would I go? Well, it has to be within that zone of predictability, and usually within the zone of danger is where it's a blind spot. And the police would be sitting. Sure enough, I explained it to her. She knew about this, and I said, "Yep, go knock on the window of that car." She did, and the guys were like hunched down, trying to hide, and all this stuff. And so that was it. She.
Yeah, they don't like it when you fuck with them.
No, but the thing was, I had put them under surveillance. I find out what frequency they're on. That took a little bit. Find out what frequency they were operating on. And so the Metropolitan Enforcement Group, I knew where they were at all times, listening to them. I had their phones. I had cell phone intercept equipment, so I would intercept their cell phones and listen to them. So I always knew where they were, what they were doing.
This takes a team. Did you have bodies?
No.
Like you personally?
I had to learn it myself from the guys that trained me in technical surveillance countermeasures. They teach you both sides of the thing and how to do it. So
yeah, but how do you listen to all the phone calls?
You put them on a recorder.
Okay.
You put it on a recorder, voice activated recorder, and they would just log the things, and I would go and listen for literally 2.5 to 3 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours, listen to what they're doing. I put in the time, but it worked.
On top of running this huge grow operation, you're falling asleep at night listening to cops talk to their wives.
I knew what the frequencies were. I knew what the transponder codes were to the aircraft, everything.
So what's a heat check?
A heat check? I don't know what you're
sorry, something that I was looking at in the book said
that would be a
surveillance tail or ran a heat check.
Yeah, that's a surveillance detection route. If you thought you had some heat on you, you do a surveillance detection route. You can do it on foot or in a car, doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I had like a dozen different ball caps in the background with 6 different sunglasses and reversible jackets. Yeah, they teach you that.
So you always, and multiple cars, you'd have these kits to like get away.
Yeah. That's true. We have multiple cars and different places where we could go and grab cars.
I always thought this was slick. So tell me about the answering services you set up under all your different identities.
So when you have an ID, you got to backstop it, right? So so I would set up answering services. I told them, under no circumstances do you ever admit that you're an answering service. This is what you answer, this is how you say. And that was it. And so if I needed some kind of a credit check or something they were doing, they would call that answering service, and I would get on the phone, and I had different voices I could do, and I would talk to them.
So, and this is how you rented all of houses. Houses.
And I liked expensive homes, because what I found out with expensive homes, neighbors stick to themselves. They don't ask you a lot of questions. They're busy doing their stuff. They're too busy making their money, and they leave you alone. You go into other neighborhoods, and everybody wants to know your goddamn business. So very quickly I found out, go after those homes that are 5,000, 6,000 square feet.
I figured that out in my grow career too. When you rent a nice place, they all just fuck off.
That's right. Yeah.
Like they figure you have the
those
money.
Nice places have amperage. They would have 400 amp service.
Yeah. So you had these, and you had different answering services set up for like 5 identities in Canada, right? Like you had Remington.
I would set up all kinds of. I would have different answering services and also different names running under each one of those.
Is and all separate, or was it one answering service? Like, he's calling Remington this time.
Yeah, right, exactly. The name and then this one, but they wouldn't be. They would be like some real estate company or something. If I was doing real estate and I wanted to rent a place. So, he called up this real estate company, and I rented the place for 2 years, and he was wonderful. Yeah, always paid on time. Was always a little bit early.
And you had a girlfriend, obviously, and she said there was a point I remember
go ahead.
That she lost a tail because you had trained her out of like.
That's what earlier.
Okay.
When I was living in Bull Valley,
So.
She caught him. She caught him because I trained her how to do an SDR and where to look and all of that. I trained her very well.
So why did you go with helicopter?
Though she was untrainable, but still.
Well, just a few of them.
He was a wild
I've
one.
met a couple of those. Yeah. So what made you land on helicopters?
Because
as far as smuggling, sorry, I should
no problem.
this, guys.
So it's also the terrain. So I'm looking in this it's mountainous terrain. The only thing that had dynamic versatility is a helicopter. And so I said, okay, that's what we're going to start using.
And this is the route between British Columbia and Washington.
Yeah.
What part of Washington? Northern?
Oh, we started closer to, let's say, the Pacific Ocean, and then we had to kind of march our way east.
But as you kept bringing in the weight, like
when the weight and the heat, because then other people heard it, and then other people were doing it too. They started doing it. And so now there's like 3 or 4 guys doing helicopters across the thing.
Okay, so this is during the blow up. Money's just spilling in. It's
nuts.
It's
crazy. I would walk around with a little suitcase with my little briefcase, right? A briefcase would have 70,000, 80,000, 100,000 in, and that was just paying the workers all the time. They need a new air conditioner. They need this. They need that. It's just okay.
Now tell me, you told me the story years ago. The hockey bags that you had made.
Yeah, sure.
So you had big hockey bags made. How many pounds?
Because we needed like hockey bags. We started using hockey bags, and they were expensive. So I said, you know what? And some of the hockey bags, they couldn't hold the weight. I'd rip the handles out, and I go, this is bullshit. So I went down in Vancouver, and I went to an Asian place, this little place that does seamstress work. And I said, I want you to make some bags for me. And they said, okay, what? And I described the bag. And I said, listen, you really have to reinforce these handles because there's going to be a lot of weight on there. And so they built them to our specifications. And we sold a shitload of those out of the hydroponic store. Of course, we used them too.
Oh,
and so
smart.
We could put 50 pounds in that bag, right? So that's...
Yeah,
we could put 5 bags in the back of a helicopter. If I wanted to put some on the skids, I could put more, but then everybody knows what you're doing. So so I just didn't do that. I always kept it inside, and we just make multiple trips in a day.
And it would like the bag would hold $1 million cash coming back the other way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can remember I had 2 of those bags, and there was $1 million in each one of those bags. Yeah. There was still room.
Nuts. So now, how do the helicopters start? Okay, so you start with Cowboy and Jedi are your helicopter pilots,
Listen,
right?
Jedi was the most incredible. I'll tell you a story about Jedi. So he was the first pilot that we hired, and he had like way over like 15,000 hours, and he had flown like some crazy shit. And I can remember I heard back from the guy. He was standing over there on the U.S. side, and he's calling into us going, I don't think so. Like the cloud is here, and you got about 100 feet before, you break out of the clouds, and I don't think he's going to come. And we said, just stay there. He'll be there. And all of a sudden, he was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, he calls us back and goes, I hear a helicopter. I hear him above me. And he goes, he came out of the clouds, like to keep that thing steady in the clouds while you're going. And he just, like God, just came out of there and landed it. All right, load up. Well, I unload, guys, and he was out of there. Because you punch through the clouds and it's clear again, right? So
yeah. But isn't it hard with the gyroscopes when you're in the cloud? Like you don't really know which.
Like he was in a different league. He was like the best helicopter pilot I ever ran into.
Okay, what about Cowboys? Good, but not as good.
No, he was his partner.
Oh, okay.
He was real good too. He both of these guys were instructors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go down to the instructor place.
And they were doing logging with, they're what they call long line logging, where they pick things up in the logging. So they were used to doing that as well, which is extremely dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of weight swinging from the chopper. Yeah, I could see that. That could create a bad situation very quickly. So what were the nighttime chopper runs like? And did you start with days or nights?
No. They were, only the Jedi guy would go at night. Like,
okay.
He was in another league. So they were all daytime runs, most of them, all of them.
Okay.
We did some, Jedi was working for us. We did some nighttime, all weather. It didn't really matter. He would just go. He was that, he was that good. The confidence level that guy had was just amazing.
How much money would he make on a run?
these guys became millionaires.
Well,
and that was a problem because some of them would quit.
Well,
They go, oh, I made enough money. Okay, fine, I get it, right? You sure you don't want to stay? You know, you can always come back. And there was a few of those guys that we did. And so at the end of the day, then, yeah, I started flying.
Well, how much would a guy make on one run?
They were making like 100 per. So they would do anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 in multiple runs in a day. So yeah, you know, they're making 100,000, 75,000 to 150,000 a day.
Dang,
yep.
dude, I can't even. So they were with you for then months or years.
Unfortunately, probably most of them didn't make it over a year because they took the money and they were smart. They go, hey, I made enough.
Yeah, well, $1 million. I mean, that's back then too.
They made millions.
Tall.
One guy, he was smart. He built a big apartment building. And he goes, I'm set for life. I go, good for you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's brilliant. I told you this years ago. I've seen you make a lot of millionaires over the years. And ironically, some of them don't even like you after. I never really got it. I'd be happy with a guy.
Here's the thing about human psychology. When people start getting something all the time, they start expecting it and they become entitled to it. And then when you stop, there's resentment.
I've seen that.
And so that happens. Instead of saying, hey, I'm really grateful for the time that we had and all the money that we made together. Thank you. You know, and okay, it didn't work out this time, but all those other times, that was wonderful. I mean, that's how you tell a healthy person from someone who has a pathology.
I mean, I was about to use the term grateful because, like, I don't know, I'm a pretty grateful guy. I wouldn't call myself healthy, but I'm grateful most of the time, you know, and like things are good. You should be grateful for them, and not everything stays good forever. And that's just be grateful for the time that it was. But yeah, I do.
Agreed.
I've seen that where a lot of people just get on this, well, wait, you owe me this for life. No,
I'm so grateful for cannabis. Cannabis has shown me the world that and a life I never would have expected.
This place did that for me, man. I've flown around the world, talked to interesting potheads all over the planet. Yeah, it's just been a hell of a ride. I used to read High Times.
Most of them are all great people, too.
Good guys, almost always. I used to read High Times when I was like 12 and 14. How do these guys get these jobs? They just get to smoke pot and hang out with cool pot people. And here we are. I guess living the dream.
That's how it happens.
So nighttime chopper runs, cool. Yeah. What made you move to fixed wing?
Well, I was in fixed wing first before helicopter. So I flew regular airplanes for a while. And I liked them. They were great for spotting places and doing things. Oh, yeah. And so even when I was in the States, I had my pilot's license, and I was flying around with GPS had just come out. They had like a few satellites up, and they didn't work 24 hours a day. So I'd go out while they were working and, you know, waypoint the field, the entryway.
This is an interesting part, though. All those early outdoor grows, you've told me this, that you used to fly over the Michigan forest and whatnot.
Yep, Illinois.
Also in BC, Illinois, sorry, my bad. But fly over the forest, and you would pick these hugely secluded.
Yeah. So what I did is I ended up getting a soil map. What people don't realize is every county in America has got soil map. And so I found these certain areas, and Bob and I called them super soil areas. The soil was just so rich and just wonderful there. And, man, you just put anything in there and they would grow. And we said, okay, where are more of these places? Because, you know, this stuff grows like weeds.
Grows itself, yeah.
And lo and behold, I looked on the map where we had 3 or 4 places, and they had the identical same numbers, like SR2 or whatever it was. And they all had the same reading. I went, oh, how many more of those places are there? I went and looked on the map, and every single one of those places I flew over and we marked and we grew in that were viable.
This was another thing you told me over our years together that I thought was cool. You're like, Eljay, you always got to do 3 grows.
That's right.
1 for the crooks, 1 for the cops, and the third one you get.
That's it. That's right. And it worked out that way some years. Some years we did better. We never did worse than that, thank God.
That's just, that's nuts. So tell me, and the viewers mainly, there was one point that you guys were out visiting one of these grows, and the guy on the highway picks it up on the scanner that they're all coming, coming.
No, it's the opposite. I picked it up on the scanner when I was in there, and I heard that because you got to remember, every evening I go out, I'm listening to this dispatcher. I know her cadence. I know her voice. I know when she's excited. I know when she's not. All of a sudden I hear silence, long silences. And then I hear her starting to get excited. I hear another police and another police and another police. And then they said the initials of one of the crossroads, because it was like a big square. 1 mile by 1 mile by 1 mile. We're in the middle with the police.
So they suspected you were listening to them if they're only using initials.
Yeah. And so then it's like, I called up, it was Bobby on the outside. I go, Bobby, get the hell out of here. They're coming. He goes, no, man, it's all calm. It's all good. I said, no, listen to me. They're coming. Get the fuck out. Now. Go. He goes, are you sure? I said, yeah, get the hell out. We're going to be fine. We'll do our thing. And I got him to leave, and then as soon as he left, the guy gets on the radio. He goes, yeah, they're real close to me now. I went, shit, we're in a tree line. This guy's in the tree somewhere hiding, and I'm like, oh man, get the hell out of here. And how many more are there? So we bolted through. I went through this big briar patch. I mean, thorns and all. I didn't care. I just ripped it through, cleared the way. We all went. We were running. We jumped over a creek. I jumped over a creek. I said, everybody stay here. Let me jump over and see what's happening. Jumped over the creek. I see these two dudes running down the cornfield, and they were cops. And they made a call out. It goes, we see one of them. And then the chief goes, be careful. They might have machine guns. I'm going, oh, shit. These guys are going to be trigger happy. We don't carry any guns with us when we're out in the field. None of that bullshit. And so that worried me, but we got away. We were able to get away. I got everybody out.
Didn't you say
They happened actually twice, and I got everybody out unharmed.
And didn't you say it was something like 24 hours you were struggling through the
a long time? It was a long time. Like we were. That was a long night, and especially when you're sitting in a field. And lucky there was another cornfield we could hide in. We got cover. And then Bob came back and picked us all up.
Well, and you're
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, they would have thrown the book at you.
It was between. Yeah, but we're already crossing borders from Illinois to Wisconsin. We're in Wisconsin there.
Oh.
Walworth, Wisconsin.
Done.
Yep. And you can see Kiko Man soy sauce is made in Walworth, and we'd always drive by the factory.
That's great. That's sorry, I've always loved that story.
And then one of our guys actually ran through their property when he was getting away. He goes, man, I was at this Kiko Man place. I go, oh, yeah, the soy sauce place.
Yeah. On the run. So how did you meet Evan Ritchie Rico?
Okay.
Richaud, maybe? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. They
and what was his role in the smuggling?
Is what I said before. It's like the one guy that we started off with who was building a home on Vancouver Island, OT we called him. That started with those guys, and the other ones that you're talking about are the guys that we were partners with, and then eventually they thought we were crazy and moving too much weight. And so we gave them a piece of the action just for stepping to the side.
Okay. Yeah. So, and what about?
And by the way, I grew outdoor with those guys too up there. Man, what's one thing when I grew in Canada? I thought I was the luckiest grower in the world. I used to look up at all those beautiful mountains and the scenery, and I go, I can't believe I'm so lucky to be here growing cannabis and under these beautiful conditions. Still, some of the most beautiful places I've been in the world is British Columbia, Canada.
And this
in the mountains, you go in and you get past, but on your way to Grand Forks, I call it the Crow's Nest Highway, and you get off after the town of Copper, and then you go, and there's a road I take through the mountains. It was so nice. There was nobody there, and it was me driving for hours and hours and just alone by myself, and some of the most beautiful scenery you can see. Oh, and I was really fortunate.
This is like the Mercedes Moog days, right? When you had those big Mercedes Moog trucks.
Unimog, yeah.
And to haul all your gear.
we had Unimogs. We had specialized equipment that looked like tanks with pickup truck thing on the back with a bed on the back where you could put our water and haul it up 45-degree inclines, and it was crazy. Like driving a tank, you don't have a steering wheel. You pull things like this.
Yeah.
And you got a throttle. That was wild.
Dude, where did you keep all of this heavy machinery?
Places. For a while, we kept stuff on the Indian reservation because they couldn't go on the Indian reservation.
Yeah. Slick. So what did football?
Then eventually they said we had to leave because the cops were just bugging them so much.
So the entire time the police were kind of nipping at you.
Nah, not really. But towards the end, yeah, they were nipping pretty hard.
Well, yeah, towards the end they nailed you. But like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What did Fugazi and Legace handle in the U.S. side of the smuggling operation? Like, they were you guys here catching the packages, right?
Yeah, they were, and they would catch them. They would go do their thing, and they made great money as well.
Yeah, and show back up with another duffel bag full of cash.
Oh yeah, we were very, very efficient. By the time we dropped off the first load, and we go to the third or fourth load, we got our money back from the first load.
Damn, dude.
Yep.
So you guys were just raking. I mean, so much cash.
We were, yeah.
I mean, I've been in that place where cash starts to become a like, there's just so much of it. You're running out of places
we never got that crazy. Like, we're never like Pablo Escobar, or nothing like that thing. But
like
we did it very, very well.
But I mean, once you, especially with small, I mean, once you get into 600,000-800,000, I mean, piles of 20s pile. It gets everywhere.
I had a duffel bag with 300,000 in 20s. That goddamn thing must have weighed about 80 pounds. I was trying to walk like it was lightweight and everything. I didn't want to show the weight of the bag when I was going into the hotel room.
I dropped one on the hotel floor one night. I just gotten the package, suit and tie, and I'm like, I'm expecting paperwork to show. And go up into the room, and it was, the food sealer.
Yep.
The thing hit the floor like a fucking body. It was so. I'm like, oh God, don't do that again. Like, I thought that the hotel staff may show. Donk, and it fell like from the bed to the floor. It wasn't even.
It's like
money has a density.
If you think about, if you were to get a log the same big, how much a log would weigh, because it's just paper. That's a tree, right?
Yeah, no, money's got a weight to it.
It does.
So let's see. Fugazi and those guys are handling your U.S. side. They're distributing in the U.S. The whole thing.
They did a great job. Like as much as we could get over the border, they would take.
Damn. And I mean, dude, you were doing, 1,000 pounds a week. Would that be fair?
1,000, 750 to 1,500.
Jesus, that's so much. Back then, man, like nobody had ever seen that much weed in one place.
It was like a vacuum cleaner going off in British Columbia, Canada, when it came to AAA weed. For every 8 pounds we looked at, we took one in. And all we cared about was the bomb.
So you're buying on top of growing to keep up with it.
Oh, yeah, because what we ended up doing was like, okay, we're getting all our stuff across. And by the way, everybody got paid better money on the Canadian side too. It's like they got an extra 100 than what they would normally get there.
So what about, how many safe houses do you end up with stateside, Washington?
Probably a couple.
Okay.
At any one time. Yeah.
So you had places here to drop, and I mean,
and also same thing on the Canadian side. We had a lot of different places.
And this is a big smuggling network for that time. I don't know if anything's existed like this since. I mean, it's a big ass smuggling network you had put together. I mean, to have houses and infrastructure.
I love cannabis.
Clearly, like, I don't know if love encapsulates.
I want to spread the love all over the world.
Yeah, you were going hard. Yeah. So what were the biggest technical hurdles? Heat transformers, ventilation, smell, power draw? Like, when you started doing all these, like, what was
First one was, okay, how do we get the power we want? Is it a generator? Is it tapping into the lines? Like, what is it? And so that would be the decision we made. And based on that, we decide how big we can go. And that's usually was the generator was the limiting thing. And then even when you go off the 14.4, though, we easily did 300 lights with that when we did that one. That was 300.
Hiring guys from the electricity company is so smart, though. Like that, I didn't know that.
EC Hydro.
Slick.
Yeah.
So tell us about.
Well, they have all the equipment. No one ever questions what they're doing. So
no, not at all. It's just brilliant. I wouldn't have thought to do it, but it's good. You flipped guys on the other team and got them working for you. Tell us about Shush Swap Outdoor Grow with Fish and Tripper.
That was, listen, I love that. That's what I was just telling you. I drive through, off that Crow's Nest Highway through the town of Cooper, whatever they called it, and make that left and go through the thing, and you'd hit Arrow Lakes. And so the Arrow Lake Shush Swap was one of the most gorgeous areas. And, I got to know a bunch of guys up there and there was a movie once with John Bon Jovi. It was a weed movie that he did with Jamie Lee Curtis, and they were at a barn, like a harvest party. I actually invited to one of those. It was in a barn. It was a harvest party, and it was wild. They had, let's say migrant workers. They brought in migrant workers from Mexico or wherever it was, and they would come every year, same group of guys, they would work and then go back home.
And make a shitload of
And
money.
they're sitting there playing guitar, singing songs. It was cool. The whole evening was just a wonderful, wonderful.
Well, especially
journey.
for this underground pot thing, to be able to have that community even back then.
It was
cool.
It was a good, cool factor. It made me feel safe.
What did you learn from the off-grid growers, the old BC guys? Like, what did you pick up from them?
You know, again, there wasn't a lot of knowledge out there at the time. The internet didn't, start coming around till
96, 8.
Yeah, 97. I started, I put some pictures up on the internet showing how you can grow 2 pounds of light. At the time, that was a big deal. No, it was good.
What was your biggest single score through all of these years? Your biggest lick, just one move, one grow, one something.
It was probably continuous because of what we're moving across the border. So it was always like 750 to 1,500. And, 1,500 collecting money for that's a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah. Millions.
And so I don't think there's only one day. There's one that stuck out, and it wasn't a big one. It was the first time I'd done business with the guy who, we followed to we followed to his house, the actual buyer. First deal that we made, I can remember, we got it was an $80,000 deal. And at that point, I think it'd been like the most money I'd ever seen before at a thing. I went, wow. And so it wasn't the biggest, but it was the first one. So that one was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then that kind of kicked off started the whole thing where brought more to the guy, more to the guy, more to the guy. And then, here's what happened. So he was going to go retire. We heard he was going to retire, and he wanted to sell his connection. So these other guys wanted to buy it, but I said, there's no way they're going to buy it from these guys because we're more dialed in. So sure enough, he gave it to us. It cost us $1 million. We paid $1 million for the connection.
Jesus.
And you know who the guy is. And so it worked out real good. As much weight as we took, brought over, he would move. And we didn't have any aspirations more than what we were doing. We were happy.
Imagine, though, $1 million for a handshake.
For a name.
Back then, normal, but these days, it's just.
It worked out really good.
That's incredible, dude. So, okay, how did you come up with the different aliases? Michael Collins, Tom Newman, John Midas, Jefferson. How did you?
Jefferson. I was Michael Paulson, Michael Remington, Jesus Christ, Tom Newman. There was a bunch. I'd have secondary stuff I would do for small stuff, like opening up P.O. boxes, and then another set of ideas for the more serious stuff.
Okay, but where did you store all of these separate dossiers full of paperwork and drivers and passports and?
Yeah.
Where'd you put them all?
Safety deposit boxes.
Okay. Slick, and you just carry today's identity around?
That, or I have a very specific thing that I do to hide things in a home.
Okay.
And,
Slick, though. So you would just carry today's identity around? Because, if you had 2 or 3 of them and you got rolled the whole thing.
I would never have 2 IDs with me at one time. And never. Maybe once when I got something, to when I had to go get a driver's license. But, no. And then I had a very slick place of hiding in the vehicle, too. And then that was only the one time, and then then it was just normal. I was that person, and most of the names I was always Mike. I remember one time I was Michael Werbach too, and so I was always Michael. Except when I went to Canada, I changed it to Tom.
Okay.
Because I wanted it and the hardest part was when I was a Tom is when I hear people call it the name Mike. You just want a rubberneck, right? So I had to train myself not to look. That was tough.
The answering service, how did it work in practice? Did you pay a service to do it, or did you yourself?
No, I paid a service.
Okay, so they
would sometimes from the service, though, then I would call as the owner. And so I would use different accents, you know.
That's how
yeah.
that all snapped in.
Yep.
Thank you. All right.
Yep.
So and then you'd call to like verify yourself.
That's right.
For renting
That's
a house.
Right.
Or...
No one better to verify me than me. Yeah.
Okay. What were the most elaborate props or systems used to keep your stories believable?
You'd have to. It's just practice.
Okay.
You would. I would just like
watches, cars. I mean, when you're Daddy Warbucks guy, like, so you'd do the whole thing. You'd put on like the Tom Ford suit and jump in the Porsche.
I wouldn't go that far. But what I would come across as, I would tell them I had a trust fund. I was a trust fund baby, and they, oh, okay, whatever. They don't question anything. That was
carte blanche.
And all my references always checked out.
Which identity of all of them was the hardest one to maintain?
Tom Newman, when I was in Canada.
Because of the Tom thing?
Yeah, but because of my mom thing. So my mom, I had a secret way of connecting with my mom. You know, she'd go to a certain payphones, and at a certain time and certain day they would ring, and it would be me.
From Estonia?
No. She was when I was living in Temecula. She was living in where the hell was she? Yeah, she was in the States at the time, and then eventually she moved up to Canada with me, and then from there she went to Estonia. Yeah,
I never knew that. So she was up there. You got a chance.
Oh, my mom. Oh, yeah. I bought her a condo, the whole bit. Everything was good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you only got one mom, right? Mom's mom.
Lovely though that you got to hang out with her and do all. I think that's very. And every kid wants to buy his mom a house, dude.
That's right.
That's every kid.
Like Elvis.
Feel good about that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you make some money. You want to do something for your folks.
Now, did living under all of these identities and all these lies, like, change yourself as a person? Like, because, like, did you start to lose any, I don't know, gravity of did you start to lose Mike in all of it is basically what I'm asking.
That's a good question.
When you're being everyone else.
Yeah, it's, you know, I would just rehearse. So I was that I became that person, like a method actor. I became that person. So the one that I had probably the most fun was Michael Remington. Because everybody thought, "Are you with the Remington guns and everything?" You know, blah blah blah. I wouldn't say anything. Yeah.
So you wouldn't say anything on purpose just to let him believe it. Oh,
yeah, because what a guy is, he's not going to say that he is, right?
Of course. Yeah, but interesting that you were playing that chess that many moves ahead. Slick. It's slick. Was ever a close call with one of your identities almost got exposed, but you pulled it? Oh, really?
Never.
So, not till the end.
Okay, there was one. Okay, this is the closest I ever came. So I was coming out of doing a helicopter run, and I parked it, and it was way out in bumfuck nowhere. So I'm driving, and it just rained, and I'm driving. I'm in a great mood, by the way. Like, you know, the adrenaline doesn't hit you while you're doing it. Like, you're super focused on everything, but then afterwards you get the adrenaline jump. And it's like, it's euphoria. It's like, I don't know what the drug is that our brain produces, but that shit's good. And I'm just like happy, listening to the radio, and just going along at about 60, 70 miles an hour. And the road is like this matte black. And this farmer had left his gate open. He had a 1,200-pound bull standing on the road. I didn't see till the bull turned its head, and I saw the whites of his eyes, and I'm within 20 feet of this thing. And boom. I got to tell you something. If everyone tells you they're strong as a bull, you don't want to fuck with it. Because this bull, I hit him. He went over the top, landed on the road, and walked off the freaking road. The cops had to come and shoot him in the head. It's like that gnarly. And the guy, the farmer, he said, well, my bull didn't come, and some kids were riding a motorcycle. They must have opened the gate. No, he had the gate open because he knew he wanted his bull to go back into the pasture, right? And so I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to sue the guy. I could care less. I just want to get the hell out of there.
Well, yeah,
right?
Away from those cops.
And so I was pretty shook up. And this little cop, I hesitated for 1 second. He kind of questioned me. You know, look, I just hit that bull. I go like my brain's not even functioning right. He goes, okay, no problem. And he just went on. That was the closest I ever came. And then I walked away from that one, too.
What were you driving, by the way?
Oh, man, they're really good. And accidents, Ford Explorers. In fact, they get some of the best crash ratings even now they have. Ford Explorer.
That's what I drive.
This fucking thing was just totaled. total. Airbags went out, the whole thing. Bags in the front, we're in the back. It was a mess. And and I couldn't swerve. I couldn't have time to do any evasive. But here's what's weird. Time is slippery. Like our relationship with time isn't what we think it is. And here's how I know. Because when I saw the bull and I was preparing for impact, I thought I had somehow the bull had moved out of the way. I went, oh, wow, I'm not hit. And all of a sudden, explosion, boom, it went off. So time it's the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. It became very, very slippery. And by that, I mean, it went into slow motion. And that gap between when I saw the bull and when I hit the bull felt like a long time. But it was just like all of a sudden, boom, there it was.
I mean, it's like seeing your life flash before your eyes.
Kind of, sort of, but it wasn't that intense.
That's pretty radical. And hitting a 1,200-pound bull, I mean, shit, that's like hitting a stone.
Over the top. Yeah.
That is,
that was a
you
bad
never
day.
told me that one. That's a bad day. Yeah, I like that. Well, we're heading for some worse ones later in the story.
I'm sure we are.
Yeah. So all this is going on, the smuggling thing spinning like a top.
By the way, we're growing weed like crazy.
Yeah.
We got 1,400 lights burning away at the same time.
And then you're buying pounds and you're filling this huge need. You're supplying the whole west coast of the U.S. at this point.
Other people too.
Like you sold the delivery portion.
Because we had.
We'll smuggle your weed too.
We had space. It's like remnant space. Okay, come on, let's go.
How would you do it with their plugs though on their end?
No problem. We had rules and everything.
Okay, so everybody knew which batch went where.
Oh, so I had them color coded. So the bags, when you go out, because the guy would pick up 500 pounds or 250 pounds, and sometimes he'd stay there and get another load and be 500. They'd all be color coded, and so when he'd get out, we'd hand him an envelope, and we'd tell him what address and what colors had to go to what address. That was all he had to do.
And that was it. Yeah, handled.
And then pick up cash. Well.
Oh, tell me about the British Columbia. So they ran an ad in the paper that they wanted.
Oh, by the way, while all this is going on, we started Advanced Nutrients.
But that's what I was getting into.
There's a whole other thing why we're here today. Yeah.
Just leading into that. So the British Columbia University runs an ad in the paper saying they're going to test on marijuana.
No, not at all. I wanted to do, so here I knew that the companies that were out there were not selling cannabis fertilizer. Knew that. And I said, okay, so we got to build a system built on actual cannabis research. How do we do it? So somebody said, go talk to UBC Research at UBC University. They're the commercial arm of the college, the university. So I did, and I said, here's what I want to do. They said, oh yeah, we can do all that. Not a problem. Only one thing, we don't have an intake license. I go, what's an intake license? Like, how do you get one of those? He goes, well, I know so-and-so over at BCIT, and let me talk to him or her, I forgot what it was, and we can, we'll see what we can do. Call me back, yep, we can do the intake. I said, great, you got the intake, they can transfer the material to you, and you can do the testing that I want for the tissue samples? Absolutely. And that's how that started, and it went on for a couple of years.
You told me that when you saw this data years ago, you were telling us that it just tore your wig back. You had no idea that they could look that deeply into the plant.
Yeah.
And
they were really smart guys, and as it turned out, they had cannabis growing. They already had identified 6 DNA satellites to fingerprint at a genomics level cannabis. And they asked me, do you want to pursue that? And I said no, because I didn't have enough money to do it. But yeah, it's like they were ahead, and they were showing me. They took me to the back room, and they got pot plants that they had done tissue cultures on, and all this stuff. And they were showing me how to do tissue cultures and the whole bit. And they go, we love this plant. So they were advocates. They were cannabis advocates working on this, and so it was a labor of love for all of us.
And this is back in the mid-'90s.
Oh, yeah.
Genomics were barely a thing.
It was 90, probably we started 99, 99.
Wow. So, and then off the back of seeing this huge insight, I always thought you had a light bulb moment. We're like, oh my God, you can see this much about the plant. What if I paired high science with fertilizer specifically?
Listen, I knew the science was revealed the truth. And so I said, how do we get real data so we can make real world decisions? And I worked with, not only that, but I worked with Dr. Hornby and I worked with UBC and BCIT, and I was able to get the initial data. Then from there, we figured out that the plants could only go so far. How do we push them further? Well, those biostimulants. People, we're known for our additives and our base nutrients as well. But yeah, and so
Carbolo.
It just one thing. Then what we ended up doing, I was doing a lot of research, a shit ton of research. I was staying up. I was a voracious reader. I would stay up for till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I still, not as much actually, but I learn more in videos now because I got the YouTube thing, right? But anyways, I'd stay up and read research papers out of Ag World, one after the next, and so I would get these ideas and say, okay, let me try this, let me try that. I found out, hey, some of this stuff works and some of it doesn't, but the stuff that works really works good. Look at the difference. And since we knew what the cannabinoids were and all that, because we were pulling profiles way back then, we knew, and we could see what was happening. I was just like, this is cool.
How long?
So then we tried the different kinds of biostimulants, and eventually, we ended up where we are right now with our 7th gen, and now we're on our 8th gen. Which, by the way, I wasn't doing any of the research for the 8th gen. That was our science team. Our team of scientists did all that. They busted their ass for 3 years, staying up till 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning, and they do that still to this day. Like some of the cool shit that we have found out and we've implemented into the 8th generation is this. Our industry, first of all the technology is there except for one our industry have never seen before.
Oh yeah.
And the one that we did, we improved it.
Well, and you already had a lead on the entire market as far as making a pot plant dance. That's kind of been your thing for many years. So yes,
the guys were using advanced nutrients. We're getting $4,000 to $6,000 a pound back in the traditional market days back then, and all those growers are now either have their own grow facilities, or they are director of cultivation at places. Oh, yeah. Like almost all of them have grown with advanced nutrients at some time.
Oh yeah.
And they cut their teeth on it. They know how good it is and made a lot of people a lot of money.
I remember that guy that came up to us, that cannabis cup in like 2014 or something. He's like, Mike, you bought me 3 houses.
Oh yeah. Man, I'm so grateful for those people coming up and talking to me and saying, because it gives you, you get kind of pushed down in our industry at times, and hearing that you're making a difference in people's lives. I can't think about how many houses, how many educations, how many vacations people have come up and talked to me and said, thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot, including
it makes you feel
mine.
good.
It should. I remember the first time I used it.
It's the fuel that keeps me going even today. Like, what's advanced nutrients? Well, advanced nutrients is simple. We want to grow the best cannabis in the world, period, bar none. That's our goal. No one's beat us yet. Not one person, even all our competitors who say, oh, all you need is salts, that information is not accurate. And they know that because in their places, the biostimulants that they use are advanced nutrients.
Yeah. I see it.
You've seen them. You've seen them. Yeah. And they're like some of the largest companies. They don't tell you that bud that you're looking at was grown with advanced nutrients, biostimulants. Sure, they use their base nutrients, but the magic is in the biostimulants, and the magic is in the bases if you do it right. Our cultivator series, bar none, no one even comes close to it.
Oh, it's the jam.
You know that story you told me about in Arizona? It was True Leaf.
Yeah.
This guy, what was his name?
Oh God, what was that guy's name? He's no longer with them.
Yeah.
Was it Greg? It may have been Greg, if I'm not mistaken.
If you have that name, anyways, this guy, he works was
Tommy. Tommy's the head grower at True Leaf. That's what it is.
The head grower, and he was making the True Newts for them.
Yeah.
And this is in the Arizona. Which was
that's their
Magnolia, the Magnolia and the R&D facility.
That's their R&D facility. I know that much.
And so they put their True Newts up against us, GH powders, and our cultivator series. Was the cultivator?
Sensi powder.
Sensi powder. And the cultivator's even better.
Oh,
okay.
It's hands down better.
Hands down better, yeah. So they got 19% with their True Newts of THC. They got 22% using GH. They got 26% with advanced nutrients. So what is that extra from 19, that extra 7 more points of THC for every percentage of THC? What's it worth? There's a number attached to it.
Well, it's
Your
hard.
nutrients are for free if they would use advanced nutrients. But what did this guy do? This guy did not want to go to his boss and tell him tell her, what was happening because he didn't want to lose his job.
Yeah.
Can you believe that shit?
Yeah, no, I mean,
it goes on in our industry all the time. Those money guys out there, like, there's only one product, advanced nutrients. It will make you the most ROI on your investment, bar none, period. I don't care who they are. I had $1 million contest out there. Remember that $1 million?
Oh, I totally
remember. No one took me on with $1 million on a head-to-head grow. There's not one person who would dare ever took me on. I had that standing for about a decade. No one ever came and wanted to do it.
I heard through the grapevine way back when you did it that Dutch Master or whatever had tried to start a run like quietly. They didn't want to do it publicly. Yeah. And that the Advance started kicking ass on their program so early. They just shut canned the whole deal. Yeah. So, okay. So,
all right, anyways.
So you started Advanced Nutrients. Now, why carb load? Why were carbs so important?
Well, first, because I understood that the biologicals in the soil use carbs, and the plant itself uses carbs as well, that you can manipulate the plant with carbs. And so I started studying carbs. As it was, I was in the reference library at UBC University. There's a whole set of different trade publications on carbohydrates. Oh, how about that? And so I just dug into carbohydrates, and lo and behold, I found a study where they use carbohydrates on plants. And they got it. That doesn't mean it's going to work in cannabis. You got to test it, right? We tested it, worked, increased yields. Okay, good. We're going to use that. So we came out with CarboLoad.
What was your next product?
I think it was Big Bud. Yeah.
Still changing the world.
Changing the world. The logo was different at the time. And I can remember, I actually didn't come up with the name. A Vietnamese store owner came up with the name. I had some other kind of name I'd come up with. He just looked at me and goes, why don't you call it Big Bud? Yeah, that's a genius. That's a genius. Tell him what it does. I said, okay, makes your buds bigger. Call it Big Bud. And yeah, he gave that.
All these
he
years
got that name from a store owner, hydroponic store owner. So thank you very much.
I mean, what's it? 117 countries now.
122, I think.
122.
Yeah. It gets into countries that I don't even know how the hell it gets in there. You go into Tehran, Advanced Nutrients is there. Can't keep it out. It's the craziest thing. Like we're everywhere. It always amazes me where we can be found, because people just buy it in the States and take it all over the world.
Literally,
or buy it in the EU and take it all over the world.
I mean, the world has spoken. They love that product. We sell more of that across the world than anything. People just go nuts for it. So back to the thing. When did
you know what's funny?
What?
People haven't duplicated it yet. Like none of our product, like very few, like none of them that I can think of have been duplicated. None.
I mean,
and it's been 15 years, and we've improved them along the way, a few times. But with this 8th generation, I'm so excited for everybody when they see the 8th gen, because it just, with the 8th gen and triploids and our tetraploid program, it's going to change the face of our industry. These guys are getting, they're getting, with the triploids, they're getting an extra 2 pounds of light.
Oh yeah,
2 fucking pounds of light.
I've seen some of it, 4.2, 4.4 pounds, 5.
5, and 5.88 is the highest that we've seen so far. My belief is that once we get going with the triploids and we get it in the right growers' hands with the right equipment, they'll hit 6. They'll hit, and the tetraploids will hit 7. I'm sure of it. I mean, because the buds are huge on the tetraploids.
Just don't.
Donkey. They kind of grow like a big top, like a chump in chunks.
Like Buddy's head.
That was a strain I saw. Yeah.
So you're doing all this, and you have the hydro store too, right?
Oh yeah. That's another thing we had. We had all those things. We had Great Garden Super Center, and then we had Mad Melvin spread all over the province. We had another 3 of those going.
Okay.
So yeah, we were not only in the hydroponic store business, and we had multiple stores. We were also in the equipment making business. We had Polar Bear, and Polar Bear, we made all kinds of equipment. We had boxes where they're flip-flop boxes. You could do 12 lights in one room and 12 in the other, and you could carry it in. It had like handles for 4 guys to carry the damn thing in. It was so heavy. And then we had all kinds of air conditioning equipment and air handlers and all that.
So are you making money out of the hydro business, or you're just using it to clean?
No, both. So we were the number one customer, but we also had everyone else coming to us too. Like everybody, like we did a really good business.
So it was easy to deploy Advanced Nutrients from that counter space because you had everybody shopping there, right?
Yeah.
And so that starts, how many years are you?
Then we had a warehouse you could drive in. It was a drive-through. We actually had line painted so you could bring your car in this way and you go out that way. It's a 10,000 square foot warehouse. You could drive in and load up and drive out.
Slick, because back then you wanted it all hidden.
More quiet, yeah.
Yeah, so how long are you just in Canada with Advance before you move it into the U.S.?
You know, I think we're probably doing it for about 3 years in Canada, and then all of us people were coming from the United States and picking it up, and we knew that. And we heard about stories about people going into Humboldt County, you know, pulling up the trunk deck and saying, "Look, I have all these advanced nutrients." And they'd sell them at a massive premium.
Oh yeah.
And we heard about that, so we just said, okay. We started slow in the United States, and then one thing led to another, and it gained momentum, and here we are today.
What was the moment with Advanced when it just blew like
when
money?
We got rid of a distributor who he's a good guy, a good human, but he just wasn't working in a coordinated fashion that would grow that company fast. You know.
Okay, and once you took over self-distribute, then it just ripped.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened over in Spain. We had some bad management. I went in there 2 months ago, fired them, and now, you know, we're up 55%. And we're going to, soon we'll be, actually, yeah, we're up quite a bit, actually. And so it's just like, people make the difference. Well, it's always about people. And you gotta
sad
get the right
and
people.
amazing.
Yeah, it's sad and amazing because of the nefarious bullshit that they tried to pull.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing I found out. When you're number one, you have a target on your back. And I call it, you know, white mail. All the shitty things that people say about the company because, you know, jealousy, envy, it makes themselves feel better to put you know, Advance down. Yeah. Anyways,
it's fucking painful, is what it is. I feel bad for you.
Yeah, it's, you know, people take hits at you all the time, so you develop a thick skin and you get used to it. I don't even pay attention to it now. My guys in the media for years, they've known, never show me the negative mail because it'll get inside your head. That's the last thing that you want to look at because you can't make people happy, like everybody happy. If you try, you become nothing to everybody. It's better to be polarizing and divide an audience than it is to, you know, try to be everything to everybody and try to be liked by everybody. That doesn't work.
Yeah,
I found out the hard way.
You taught me that years and years ago, that the polarization, like, yeah, sure, some people don't like it, but the ones who like us fucking love us.
Oh, yeah, that's it, yeah.
So
anyways, you get a thick skin. You can say whatever you want. This bounces off me now. I could care less because it says more about the person who's talking shit about you than you. Think about that. It does. It says volumes on that person. And I don't even get mad at the person because I understand that they probably had a very shitty childhood in a home. And so I understand that what they had to go through that made them the way that they were. You know, I didn't always have that skill set. I have it now. And I'm very forgiving on a lot of folks.
I've seen that. I've witnessed that about you. So when do you first realize law enforcement's closing in?
You know what? I first noticed it because we had a helicopter out at a farm. It was an 800-acre ranch that we owned. And one guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, BigMike, I was Jefferson then. Jefferson, I want to show you this." He took me over, and he goes, "Yeah, pickup truck was sitting here for the last 6-8 hours." And he goes, "Look at the ashes." This guy had like a pile on the thing he left like this of ashes. You go, okay, this guy's doing this. So I went, and this is the damnedest thing about human nature. So I went and I told every single person, "Listen, we're under surveillance now, and like we should probably disband." No, not one person in one grow house. And I would say, "Listen, your house is under surveillance. We know it's under surveillance." They go, "We don't care. We want to pull this crop out." We had one place, we had a warehouse that they were watching. Our guys were sneaking in the back through the railroad tracks. They put a hole into the wall and they were able to get in, and they were taking care of the crop while the cops were on the outside looking to see if anybody came. And I would tell the guys, "You don't have to do this. Like it's okay, I'll put you up in another place." Every single person burned it to the end. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. And we were no different, by the way.
I was going to say, go potheads. We're built like this.
Yeah. And so yeah, we ran it to the end. Like, and because I knew I was like, okay, we'd do it like a year and a half or whatever. And we had 6 lawyers, so I felt pretty confident. And yeah, I can remember the court case. It drug on for about 3 months, and we weren't getting anywhere. And there was one lawyer that we hadn't hired. His name was Ken Westlake, and we hired Ken. Ken got the case thrown out.
So how did Project Exacto
that's
connect to you?
The whole Project Exacto thing was, I don't even know how it started, like Loose Lips, right? And that's how it started, and they started watching us, and one thing led to... What ended up happening is they had witnesses A through H, but none of them would testify against us. What they made, apparently they did tell them some stuff. So they were able to, we knew we had a problem because right after that, places started getting popped. And we were starting to lose everything. And a couple places hadn't been popped, so we kind of shut them down for a while to see what happened. Sure enough, as soon as we fired them up, 2 weeks later, hello. But they never caught any of us. Never.
So they kept raiding the places.
They caught us. They caught us. When they had to arrest us. Yeah.
So how was it? So you're under investigation.
Yeah.
You have 7 different identities. How did that juggle become with all the different identities?
Well, I had one that I did. I had extra ones just in case something. I can even remember going to my wife at the time. I go, listen, this is the time I would normally run, but I'm in love with you. I want to stay here. Do you love me? Oh yeah, no problem. And I said, well, here's what they're going to do. And when they actually did it to her, she crumbled and she just like gave it all up. And it's just like, man, if you would just be quiet, like your whole life would be different now. And so she was one. She wanted to get a divorce. She got a divorce, and that's her choice. She made it. I'm not. But I will say I'm not the same. I was a different human then than I am now. Very different. Very, very different.
So at what point did you know that your alias had been compromised?
When my lawyer calls me for citizenship and goes, oh, they want to talk to you. There's a problem on your application. Yeah, I know what the problem is. I'm not the person I said I was. But they didn't. Through fingerprints and all that, they weren't able to identify me. It wasn't through fingerprints. It was through my ex-wife telling them.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that part. Okay,
there's a lesson there for the guys.
Tell us about the day you were arrested.
Yeah, I was going to work out, and a car pulled me over. I went, damn. And the cop he started asking me questions. He goes, who are you? And by the way, his questioning, I go, okay.
Uniform?
Yeah, uniformed. They prefer to do a uniform stop, I found out, because you think it's just a normal stop.
Yeah.
And then I was arrested. Got to go in the car. That was it. And I thought, oh, fuck, this is it. And they actually held me over the summer. They wouldn't give me bail because they thought I was a risk. The last thing I was going to go is back to the U.S.
I've done worse up there.
I'll be more than happy to stay here and do my thing. And so then the charges were stayed, and
So what was?
And so it was in 2003, and I tried to stay there as long as I could. Got an arranged marriage, the whole bit, and that didn't work out. And then 2005, they literally came and kidnapped me. They no due process, nothing. They just came, kidnapped me, took me over the border. Before they stopped at the border. They talked to the immigration guys who are going to drive me over, and they drove me all the way to the American border, and he stops at the border. And the one guy goes, because he knows he's breaking the law, he goes, are you sure we should do this? And the other guy looks at him and goes, we have to. He goes, okay, boom. I get there, and they pull out the guy pulls out a can. He goes, if you make one more, I don't know what the hell they told him. He goes, I'm going to spray you in the face. Then I got in there, they realized I didn't even know what I was in there for. I go, what am I being charged with? Because I know my brain's got 20 fucking movies going on because I know all the shit I did. It's like, well, it could be anything. And it's like, they go, well, you made a false statement on a passport application. It's like, whew,
oh, yeah.
Wow. So the lawyer go, what kind of charge is that? He goes, it's the lowest charge in the feds. They don't even give you any time for it. You'll get probation. I said, okay, thank God. So I got like a year and a half. I think it was a year. I was a year and a half, but I was 6 months before I had the court case and got a $5,000 fine, and that was it. And 100 hours of community service. And I loved my community service because I found a place where I could go out in the woods because I was always an outdoor guy, growing outdoors and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to go out there. And people leave campers and old cars and stuff. So we'd come in, we'd cut them up into pieces and haul them out of there, right? And I really enjoyed it. And so I was able to do my 100 hours of community service work. helping clean up the state of Washington.
And I mean, is that the Project Exacto? Is that how that one came to that big?
Oh yeah, they got me out of the country eventually, right? And then that was it. And so now I'm over in the States. But yeah, Exacto was the entire investigation of our crew.
And while you're in jail, you said that they took you for an eye surgery.
They did.
And you were shackled like Dahmer.
Oh, listen. So I have to go look at, because I had a corneal transplant. I had stitches in. And so they take stitches out very slowly with your corneal transplant. They took me in there. I can remember they had me all chained up, and I got in the elevator. There's this little kid with a mom, and they're looking at me, like I was like some murderer, right? And it was just like, Jesus Christ. I went to my doctor. He goes, okay, it's okay. Take the cuffs off and blah, blah, blah. And so that was it. And he did my eye. Everything was fine. They took me back.
But you said that.
But they purposely did the walk of shame with me and the whole bit. Yeah, so, yeah, whatever. It was a learning experience.
But you said that the kid changed you, the look in the kid's eye.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm not a monster. I just grow a plant.
They looked at me like I was like, the Antichrist. And like the experience that it does have an effect on you for sure.
What did it feel like to hear all the charges were stayed? Like, what was that feeling like when you got that news?
The lawyer called. I got good news and bad news. I go, what's the bad news? He goes, your charges are stayed. I go, what's the good news? Your charges are stayed, because he knew that I had to leave the country then, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
What was the first thing you did as a free man?
Man, I didn't even have shoelaces on my shoes. And there was this restaurant we always went to in British Columbia, Canada, downtown. It was a really nice restaurant, and went straight to that in the middle of the afternoon. And it's like, when you've been in there for 3 months and you get out, it is surreal. It's like, I can't even believe I'm out. And so, we get one of those, whatever they call it. It was a seafood place with shrimp and lobster and crab on there and the whole bit. And it was a very surreal moment.
So
I had a new girlfriend waiting for me when I got out.
That's quick.
Yeah.
And how did your living under all these, so you finally got this pass behind you. You got off from the big giant bust. You're doing advanced nutrients.
And now they know who I am. Well, I wouldn't tell them who I was, because I wanted to see how good their system was. And so I wouldn't tell them my name. My lawyer would go, you should tell them. I go, no, I'm not going to tell them. You should tell them. No, I'm not going to tell them. This went on for like a couple of weeks, and then I finally told them.
Okay, and you told Michael Stramatis? The real?
Yeah.
Okay, so finally you get out, and all this massive, and from what I understood, and we didn't really touch on it a ton, the bust was very intrusive, like the way they roped up everybody in the houses.
Oh, yeah, they came and, like some of the guys were stopped. They like in the fucking movies. They pulled up garbage trucks and blocked on both sides and pulled guns out. And it was just nonsense.
How much cash did they get you for?
Not a lot. None. And we had some safes that were hid. They didn't see them, but there was actually no cash in them. We had the one safe. It was made by Benelli. Benelli is a tank manufacturer. It's a safe you can't crack, and we had Benellis in there. The cops, again, I wanted to see how good are these safes. They couldn't open them. They could not open them. They came to me and they go, listen, if you don't give us the combination, we're going to blow them up. I thought, well, how are you going to blow? I asked, how you do that? They said, we're going to drill a hole in the top. We're going to fill it full of water. We're going to put a charge through there, and the hydraulics from the charge will split it wide open. Oh, that sounds reasonable. Sounds like you'll probably do it. I actually wanted them to crack, do it. I wanted to see what it looked like. And one of my partners goes, well, so now why waste the money? I go, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so we just told them the combination. They opened it up. It was nothing. They thought it was, what was that thing with Ronaldo looking for Capone's treasure? Yeah, that's what it was like. They found just air.
What happened with what did you do with all the money? I mean, was it spent over those months of evading law and paying everybody and houses getting nailed?
Yeah, the money comes, it goes. And by the way, when the money comes fast and easy like that, it goes fast and easy too. And so when you actually have to work for it, work hard for it, you retain it. So my relationship with money is much different now than it was then.
So here, this is the journey, man. This is the cocoon coming off. You're out of jail. All you have left is advanced nutrients.
Yeah.
However, there were a lot of stores that thought you ratted or
rolled
over.
Oh my God!
Got out of
so
jail.
I called my brother. I go, John, we got to help me out here. We got to go up here, and so we got in the advanced nutrients van. He came up. He was there, a loyal soldier. And we drove to every single now we're a small company. We're not even in the United States then. You got to realize this. So we're just in BC. And they thought like we had heat on us, right?
Well, yeah, so you're ratted. You're out in 3 months.
All kinds of stuff happens, right? And never ratted, never said anything. And so I went personally to every single store, looked them in the eye. I had guys trying to kick me out of the store. I wouldn't leave. They're like, nope, not leaving until I get my thing here and get my samples on the floor, and that was it. That's how Advanced Nutrients was born. Was after that, all we had was Advanced Nutrients. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to focus in on this. And then I did that for a couple of years, and then they threw me over the border. By the way, that kidnapping, if I were to meet those officers, I would shake their hand and thank them for it.
Because it kind of steered you towards this new life.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% it did. And it was the best thing that happened to me.
So you start to rebuild the company, and you got to go to all these stores and convince them you didn't rat, and you're not an informant.
Yeah, we got past all that. Some people called other people, and they found, okay, this guy's whatever. As I said, he's a rounder.
So now you get to this point where you have a couple products, Advanced is okay, but you have this big idea.
But we didn't have the labels like we have now.
Well, of course.
We had funky labels, right? Very funky labels.
But that all came, feeding the plant, not the soil, basically. And you have this big scientific vision. So how does that materialize?
So when I went to I got into an organization with the top ag scientists in the world. Like they were from Texas A&M, Max Planck Institute, universities out of Japan. Every major ag company you could imagine had their best scientists there. Well, I was the only non-PhD there. And I just asked a lot of questions, made a lot of friends, asked them what they had. They had all kinds of stuff that was too expensive for mainstream agriculture, but not for the high-value crops that we're growing. And lo and behold, like some of the stuff, a lot of stuff didn't work. Some of the stuff did work, and those three PhDs there helped form the 7th generation of Advanced Nutrients.
Wow. Yeah. So the relationships have been going forever. But then you get in this early, 2005-ish or 6-ish. When did Bulgaria happen, the big lab?
Oh, shit. That's a good question. So then I go to, I was able to get transferred from Washington State down to Palm Springs and do my, the one probation officer I wanted, he wanted to put me back in jail.
So you're on probation.
He's coming, he sees the brown powder, it's fucking soil. He took it and he goes, okay, he tested it. It goes, yeah, it's just soil. Like, man, all right. This guy was gunning for me. So I found out that they prefer you to be close to your families because you have better rehabilitation if you're with your families. So I got with my family. My mom was down there and my brother was down there. And so I got transferred out there. This guy was an ex-Marine, my new parole officer, and he had so many like really bad dudes there. He goes, I don't really worry about you too much, and he would come and he'd spend time talking to me and blah 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 and see you later. And a year later I was set free, and that was good. By the way, even when I was towards the tail end, I got permission to go to China, to go to the Canton Fair. It's all kinds of stuff they sell there, and they let me go there. And it was like a couple of months, and I was going to be done. And so it was real good.
I'm glad you got a nice guy at the end. So what made the initial marketing style so bold? The Humvees, Buds 1, 2, and 3.
Oh,
the girls and the parties.
Listen, so because we were talking openly about cannabis, we got a lot of pushback from the industry. We had guys from Sunlight Supply, Hydro Farm, of course they're different owners now, and GH, different owner now, and then Bloomington Wholesale. These four did some really shitty things. They put out a opinion letter that says to store owners, if you grow Advanced Nutrients, you're going to get arrested by the DEA. So, so they would make these crazy accusations, so I would have to make videos and answer them. And you were with me when I made these videos.
I remember this, and I remember that it was nasty and it was hurtful.
Oh yeah. It was, they're trying to, here's the thing. We've had people throwing shade on us for so many years. It's just part of the program, and you got to be prepared for it. That's one of the things about being an entrepreneur, and if you're successful, watch out. You just got to ignore that stuff. But yeah, it is what it is.
And how did it feel to you personally when you're out of jail, you're building this little brand, it's ramping, people are loving the product, reporting back, and then you have Sunlight was fucking huge back then. I mean, they were huge, and you're just like up and coming.
I'm David like versus Goliath, right? Like that's how I felt, and I was able to hold them off. And the good thing was we had our own distribution, so no one could tell us what to do. So the industry really couldn't tell us what to do. And the store owners loved the fact that we're all about cannabis, and we weren't shy, and we talked openly about cannabis. And
what did you learn about leadership during this climb? So you're back down to zero, and you're building this company fresh out of a cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like during all those years of pushing, man, like did anything stick out that just changed you? Enlightened you?
You know, it was a gradual thing when you build the company. You know, you don't build a $100 million company overnight. It takes years and years and years. So it's just like felt like I was always in a fight. Always, you know, we were Advanced Nutrients was in a fight with all our competitors. We still are today, by the way. Still are. Nothing's changed. It's just human nature, and I accept it, and it is what it is, and I just. Doesn't bother me anymore.
Okay, and then we come to a new point, you know, let's say 2010, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You start noticing all this inner turmoil, the years of on the run, the years of cops, the years of scrutiny, the years of stress, the years, and you turned the focus inward, and you started working on you. Like,
you know, there's a story. So, you know, I went to a lot of seminars. I was in the highest level mastermind groups in America. Great people I met, and I learned so much. And I just knew that there was a missing piece. I didn't know what the fuck it was. And I would go to another seminar, another one. And then we got embezzled from. And when I got embezzled from, I'd already been starting to study psychology. So I was already getting a hand. I was already becoming self-aware. But then I can remember the day that I realized, just when it was me, I realized it was me, and went, holy shit. And so then I started the journey into me. And when I found that journey into me, my whole world changed. I was able to become whole and complete.
I mean, this took years.
It took years. And I still study psychology every day, 2 to 3 hours. I'm fascinated by human nature. And I've got enough under my belt now that I'm pretty good. I can see through most bullshit. Still get fooled every once in a while, but not that often.
How did the relationship with your father's memory evolve as you healed?
Wow, going deep. When you're on that journey, you go through the 5 stages of loss, personal loss. And so there's 5 stages, and I went through all 5 stages. There's a point where I was angry at my parents. There's an anger stage, and then eventually you get to acceptance. And then I got to acceptance when I did ayahuasca. I forgive both of them.
Just one night, you come out of the ayahuasca trip, and you just feel.
Yeah, I journaled it, everything. I've got it, and it's funny because I thought, okay, mom was the issue. She was an alcoholic, right? So we had to deal with some shit. And I thought that would come up first. And it didn't. It was my dad. And it was just like, boom, he came up, boom, it was done. The answers were there. Okay, great. Now let's go to mom. Mom took a little bit longer, a few seconds longer. But boom, it was done. My brother, same thing. Like, what about my brother? And, we have a nephew with autism. Like, why was he brought into our life? What's the purpose and everything? And so I found meaning in all of it.
That's fucking lovely, by the way, and that is the actual journey I think all humans are on.
Well, turns out they say only about 10% of the people are self-actualized and are self-aware. The rest of the people are asleep. I can remember when I was asleep. I look back on those when I was in Canada all that time. Those people, I didn't know. The childhood that I came out of, when I was in a relationship with drama, I thought it was fucking normal. I go, this is normal. This is like my house. Okay. I got this handle, right? No, that's not how your life should be. You should want peace. You should want calm. And any guy that's out there listening to this, if you're with a woman, it's the single most important decision you're going to make in your life. I didn't find that out till later. And if you're going to make sure that that person that you're with that is there and wants to build you up, doesn't nag you, doesn't cut you down, doesn't say bad shit in front of other people, all this stuff that some of these women out there, and by the way, men do it too, to women, but in my being a man, it's from my perspective. And it's the woman you choose will have the biggest impact in your life, and you have to choose wisely, and don't jump into bed with them. Get to know them, talk to them, like 2 or 3, 4 times dates before you even consider putting your dick into crazy.
What I've learned about this personally is I could never outpace if they want to tear it down, I can never build it faster than they can tear it down. Yeah. And it's like having a partner that wants to destroy shit. You can never get ahead.
You never,
because they're breaking it faster than you can build it.
That's it. If women want to know where all the men went, they should look at themselves, because the crap that they put us through, and the laws are definitely on their side 100%.
They're incentivized.
I got into family law. My ex-wife forged documents, and the judge didn't care. Didn't even care at all. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There, and so when you see this stuff, and women, and listen to them. What are they saying about other people? How do they treat other people? Man, if you listen to a woman, you can find out very quickly whether their motivation is going to be a positive thing in your life or a negative thing in your life. And it took me a long time, because I always thought, hey, the hot wife, the trophy wife, that's the epitome. No, it's not. Looks are not as important as they used to be with me. It's like, who is the person, what substance are, what drives them, and do we get along, and are you there to be with me on this journey, and we're going to build each other up and not tear each other down, and be able to have the difficult conversations and how to have those conversations. That's what's important. And so I had to learn all that. And so slowly I'm getting there.
That's lovely, and I needed to hear that. Thank you. I'm going through. I get it.
Sorry to hear that.
I get all of that.
Yeah.
But okay, so what is intestinal fortitude?
Oh, Peaches!
Now,
Peaches used to always go, "You gotta dig deep. You guys who have the intestinal fortitude, you gotta reach in and you gotta dig, and you can't give up. And it's going to be full court. By the way, we could do full court presses the entire game. We were like fucking greyhounds. Like, we could run like crazy.
Well, the guy beat the shit out of you to condition you.
He did.
Run like
he did.
Crazy.
Yeah, but man, the lessons I learned from that guy about myself, that he gave me the drive to build advanced nutrients.
Thank you, Peaches.
Absolutely.
Strong play, sir. What does compassion play in how you run this company today?
Wow. You got to have compassion for people, even when they piss you off, because you have to realize everyone goes through shit. Everyone wears a mask. Everyone pretends that they don't. We're all products of childhood trauma and reward. That's it. So when you understand that, so a guy can be in traffic and he can cut you off. You can just go, hey, that guy's a fucking asshole, and flip him off. That's one way of doing it. The next way that you could do it is say, well, maybe that guy's just having a bad day or whatever, and so I'll let it slide. A third level would be, well, I understand like what this guy has gone through and the type of life that he must have had, and because of that, I understand that this guy's been through a lot of trauma, and so I'm not going to let it bother me. Because 2 people yelling on the road is never any good. So if a guy's upset, just let him go. Who the hell cares? One of the biggest things, most important things in anything, is emotional regulation. So if you're with I'm with a girl, one of the first things I look at, are they emotionally regulated? Are they full of drama? Right. Okay. Yeah. And same thing with a guy. If you're a girl and you're a guy, emotional regulation. You have to be emotionally regulated, and you have to be able to control your emotions. I once had a gentleman teach me. He goes, he said, doesn't matter how mad a person gets, remain dead calm. And stay calm, because you have the advantage. The person who is mad and yelling and screaming, they're actually insane at that point. They don't have control of what they're doing. And you want to make a person feel unsafe, you want to make your girlfriend feel unsafe, you want to make your boyfriend feel unsafe, be emotionally dysregulated.
There you go. What message would you give to young entrepreneurs or growers to take from this story?
Yeah. Okay. There is no easy button in life. You look at Instagram, you look at whatever, TikTok, most people show the best version of themselves. That isn't reality. And everyone's looking for a quick buck these days. That doesn't work. That's not how life works. You're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to study, and you're going to have to go through. Here's the biggest thing. If you're going to business for yourself, you're going to go through fire at some point. And that fire will either consume you or temper you and make you hardened. And the ones that come out hardened are the self-made millionaires and billionaires. Every high net worth self-made person I've talked to has been put through the fire in one way or another. Every single one. You cannot escape it. And if you do, you're probably a trust fund baby and your parents are protecting you. But in the real world, no, you will be tested. Women will test you. The world will test you. Be prepared.
Strong. And if you could talk to the 19-year-old kid on the mattress besides 5 trash bags way back when,
Christ.
What would you tell that guy? Young Mike.
Oh, fuck. Wow. I would probably explain everything's going to work out. You're going to go through hell, but it's going to work out. The other thing is you have to understand yourself. And ironically, I kind of had a talk like that with Gail Fuller. She was one of my mom's friends. She's since passed away when I was 25. She said, Mike, I want to talk to you about your ego. I go, let's talk about that, Gail. And she goes, your ego, you're going to have to be careful with it. It can cause you a lot of problems. I said, Gail, you need to have an ego. That's the motivator. That's what drives you, keeps you going. She goes, ego is important. There's healthy ego. But most of the time, ego is going to get in the way of the things that you want to do in life. I didn't fucking understand it. I'm 25 years old. But yet, lo and behold, yeah, she was correct. And I remembered it at a specific time in my life. I went, boom. Another thing, bury your ego. Just leave it at the door. It's hard to do. It's hard not to react. It took a while to figure all that stuff out. But you don't want to have an ego. Just leave it. It doesn't matter. Just listen to people.
Strong.
And boundaries. Put boundaries down and enforce those boundaries. So many people don't have boundaries.
It's hard to enforce them, too. I'm learning about boundaries, and even if you identify them, it's like hard to not be heavy-handed. And
well, you have to be able. That's it. So you have to be able to speak to the person, and if they don't adhere to your boundaries, you walk.
And they don't respect you.
Right. The number one strongest thing that a man can ever do with a woman is walk when it gets crazy. Don't defend it. Don't do anything. Just get the hell out and be done with it. If you're in your house, tell her to get out. And the most important thing is your peace. Get used to being lonely, like being alone. I don't just say being lonely, just being alone and alone with yourself, where you can read and study and build yourself up. And that's what you have to do. Yeah, it's a lifelong journey of learning, and don't ever stop.
There you go. There you go. Very well said, sir. And looking back, do you think you could have built all of this advanced nutrients, this fucking juggernaut, without the identities, the pain, the smuggling, the jail, the arrests, the betrayals, the thievery, all this fucking pain you took along the way?
I've thought about that. I've thought about, would there have been an easier course? hindsight, 2020, you do this, this, and this. Fortunately and unfortunately, everything that I did led me to who I am today, so I wouldn't change a thing. I would like to, but I don't know what that outcome would be, so I would just stick to what I know and what it was doing. Yeah, I might make a few little changes here and there, but yeah, for the most part, I'm very happy with where I'm at, and everything I've been put through is part of the lessons I had to learn in life.
That was a fucking beautiful story, man. I've been waiting to hear this shit for thank you.
My pleasure.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. That's the tale of a prolific outlaw.
I'd like to think of myself as the best bud grower in the world. Helping growers grow the best bud in the world.
You did do that, and you grew the best bud, and you took the fucking beating for it, jails and friendships and headaches, but hey, you came out. It's the #1 product in the world, and most people, I think, in the grow community know that. I've never had anybody tell me advanced nutrients doesn't work. They bitch about the price sometimes.
But the price has been fixed because we have economies of scale, and now the price has come down where everybody can afford it.
Well, now, you know. But
we wouldn't have been able to do it if it wasn't for COVID. Because of COVID, we were able to do it. We made a lot of money during COVID, and we were able to invest those proceeds into production infrastructure, which I knew that we were going to need one day to get the economies of scale where we need to get the price down. And bingo, we're there now. It's amazing what we can produce. We can produce a hell of a lot of nutrient fast now and get it shipped out the door.
I mean, the Cultivator series is 50% up in a year.
I know.
Like that
thing is rocket fuel right now. It's a grand slam as the Cultivator series. The 8th generation, the SB1 is probably going to be one of our standout products, and that with XLR as well. Those products are, and the push and the prime, the new way of growing with 2 bags instead of 3. We figured out
it's going to change the whole industry.
Well, and with the triploids, like I said, there's going to be guys hauling between 4.5 to 6 pounds of light once we.
Why would you do anything other?
Once we launch those triploids come January, we got I think 10 million seeds coming in at that time. Yeah, and then of course launching the 8th generation at the same time.
No, that's all game changer. But of all the stuff we've dropped over all these years, I don't know that I've seen many of the products take as fast and radical as the Cultivator series. 50%
it's the fastest adopted product advanced nutrients ever come out with.
Nuts, right?
Yep, it's great.
Well, people love it.
They do.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Inside Cultivation, BigMike Sturmatis. You've heard it all here.
Thank you, Eljay, for a great interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I love this.
We've been talking about this for a while.
For many years.